Everyone call me Elf Monster. Hi, everybody. What's up? Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Hello.
Hi. I sat on that screen specifically for the music. We are back with the great Ace Attorney, also called Brace. Hello.
And I'm back
Great idea.
after
Welcome
more
back.
than a week. Yeah.
Now, if
Hi.
if memory serves, we what do I do? Yeah, that's it.
Oh, I have no memory of this place.
Well, you better remember fast.
When are we?
We just presented something to our new friend Many Memo-san.
I remember we presented the pen to him. We're like, "This is your pen. This proves
Oh,
that
the
you were at
pen
the
that
scene
had
of the crime."
his initials and logo on
That's
it. That's
exactly right. And his name is
That's
Many Memo.
right.
Right hand, Many Memo. Not gonna stumble this time.
Oh, yeah.
Right hand, Many Memo.
Right.
I was.
Many memos pen, the pen for many mo.
That pen.
That's
right.
I was thinking like I don't really remember who I have for this trial. I forgot Pain.
Pain. Yeah.
Pain, yeah.
Your all-time best voice.
I just was like, who are in this one? Oh yeah, Pain.
Yeah.
Many Memo-san. Until now, I've had a firm belief that newspapers are in the business of uncovering and publishing the truth.
You're spot on there. The press doesn't lie, which is why I'm proud to wear the emblem of the Show You News on my arm.
Show
In a way, that's more Many Memoism.
you. Show you news.
Sadly, though, it seems the journalists who write for those papers don't always share the same passion for the truth.
What? What are you suggesting with those recriminatory words, Counsel?
Many Memo-san, do you recognize this fountain pen?
Oh!
This pen was found at the scene of Miss Brett's death. In fact, the murdered victim was gripping it in her hand as she died.
What are you...
If you look at the barrel of the pen, you'll notice that its owner's initials are engraved there. R.M.
Yes, thank you for bringing it up, Counsel. The initial of the accused, Ray Membami.
You're very good at this, Ouchie.
His head's just shaking.
Is it a coincidence, I wonder? That your initials are also R.M.?
No!
He means yes!
Right hand many memo. R.M.
That's horse dung! Can't you see? One of the central tenets of Many Memoism is being a pencil user.
But no, wait a
And
minute.
yet, as the
okay.
court will clearly be able to see, on your right hand, there is a very obvious blue ink stain.
I didn't think that was gonna come up. I just thought it was a cool little character trait. I don't know. Wonder. Wonder?
Wonder?
Water.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
It would appear that it would appear that you must have rather carelessly left it somewhere recently. Your favorite fountain pen, that is.
Horsey Harstung!
Many Memo-san, is it not the case that before she died, you met with Giselle Brett in the beach hut?
Why should we listen to this absurd nonsense? It's nothing but another excuse.
Exactly. Show You News will stand behind me all the way. I deny everything. There must be as many people with the initials RM as there are stars in the night sky.
The defense has neither the time nor the inclination to count every star in the sky.
Hmm?
And there's no need anyway, because this pen has more to tell. Yes, there is another clue. A clue that undeniably proves who its owner really is.
Easy. This was
In
Jay.
that case, counsel, the defense will show the court where the alleged clue lies.
Of course, Your Excellency.
Lunar?
The clue on this fountain pen that clearly reveals its owner's identity is...
The
fake
bit on the
name.
end. No, on the end. And hit that button. Great.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be like the content being empty or something.
Nah. As well as the initials, there is also an emblem on this fountain pen. An emblem that you will, of course, recognize, Menimemo-san.
Goodness me! It is the emblem of the Shoya News.
In other words, the owner of this pen is an employee of the Shoyu News, whose initials are RM. Suddenly, the stars in the night sky don't seem so numerous, do they? Well, Menimemo-san, how do you respond?
No!
Order, order. Explain yourself, witness.
So, this is how the mighty Supreme Court works, is it? Using coercive tactics to have well-meaning citizens reveal harmless secrets.
I've used nothing but honest tactics.
Alright then, fine. I won't try to hide it anymore. Yes, not long before that grim tragedy unfolded, I, a Shoyu News reporter on behalf of the public, conducted an interview with the English woman.
An interview?
You never mentioned this before.
When exactly was this?
As I said, it was before that evil little student girl showed her face in the hut. It couldn't have lasted more than 2 or 3 minutes, that's all. It was just a brief exchange. But it came to nothing, and as we many memoists say, the people don't pay their dues for unworthy news.
However insignificant you deem it to be, this court cannot overlook the meeting between yourself and the victim. You will testify now under oath about the precise nature of this meeting that had transpired.
Got it. Yes, alright, but, on one condition.
What? Condition?
In all good conscience, I couldn't speak out alone about this.
Oh.
You need to call back the earlier witness, Soseki Natsume-san.
Yay!
Soseki-san?
Oh yes, according to my notes here, that man has a secret of his own, and brace yourselves, because it's not a harmless one. It's big.
What?
What?
He likes saying brace yourselves, I've noticed. Mini-memoism states that one man's secret is every other man's front page story.
Very well, I will grant the witness's request in this instance. Officer, oh, not the baffleaf, summon the earlier witness back to the stand.
Soseki-san, hiding something.
And of course he's gonna be freaking out. Oh, no, he's alright.
Oh, that's
You forgot to
Forgot
say
who he
that.
was. The witness's secrets.
I know it was Edgar Allan Poe in my head. That's all I can keep straight.
I asked the English woman for an interview, but she declined, so I left the hut without making a fuss. Then, watching secretly from outside, I saw the woman being stabbed and the other witnesses come running. The detective realized that the victim still had a pulse, so he ran off to fetch help. That's when this writer man here asked the woman a very significant question.
Your friendly neighborhood writer man.
But he didn't say anything about that in his testimony, which is why many memoism demands I reveal it now.
You mean to say that the victim...
The victim regained consciousness.
Well,
And when she did, you decided to ask her a question.
True, yes.
He did, and that's not all. The woman gave him a very definite answer. An answer that incriminates the accused.
Why are you testifying for this guy?
Because it's
Good
good
question.
Because it's good for me.
Ousting him?
This is preposterous! Why am I only hearing about this now? Why didn't you mention this before, you yokel hack?
You have the reporters say what he saw, and then you bring this guy in separately to confirm it.
It wasn't even a conversation! Yes, I did pose the withering English Rose a question. I don't deny it. But she could no longer speak. She was barely conscious, even. Counsel for the defense, I expect a thorough cross-examination to be conducted here. This court must and will follow the truth.
Okay.
Absolutely, Your Excellency. The reporter is claiming that Miss Brett implicated Ray somehow. What on earth could have happened in that hut?
I don't know. Let's get into it. All right, you. Tell me what you heard.
You asked her for an interview, you say?
Well, of course I did. I wanted to ask her about the incident she was involved in at the end of last year.
About the case in which Dr. John H. Wilson lost his life?
That's not the way I phrased it. Many memoism calls for straight talking. Why did you murder Dr. Wilson, is how I put it to her.
Yes, that sort of talking is straight as a ruler.
Ask every question as if you're asking for a menu in a restaurant, I say. It's the best way. A veteran at the paper taught me that.
And how did Miss Brett answer?
With one simple phrase. Mystery is a woman's charm. Woo! That told me. So I waltzed right out of there. Okay.
Really? Something
That's all
about
it
that doesn't
took.
seem quite right, or doesn't seem to fit together.
Leave every room as if you're waltzing in a dance hall, I say. It's the best way. A veteran at the paper taught me that.
What?
Okay. I still love this guy so much.
That was very persistent of you, considering that Miss Brett had just turned you away.
Persistence wins the prize. Many memoist will tell you that. Let them think you've left, then just when they lower their guard, that's when you swoop in for the scoop.
And the fruits of your labor are all too apparent in this telling photograph. Though I'm sure the young yokel student would rather not be reminded of this damning evidence.
I still think that this photo is much more in my favor than yours, but okay.
Actually, it's thanks to that photograph that we managed to identify this witness.
And now that you found me, I'll tell you whatever you want to know. I've got nothing to hide.
I'm sure.
Please go ahead, witness. The court is eager to hear what you have to say.
Why did you kill him? I was just being a girl boss. Okay, ma'am, no further question. Try to stop me. There's a story to tell here, and I'm going to tell it. All right.
Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss.
And so Seki-san remained behind in the hut.
That's right, yep. Our author friend here, was a blabbering wreck, shaking all over from his head to his toes, mustache twitching, eyes bulging.
What do you expect? You don't know the terrifying troubles that taunt me whilst traveling abroad. Back behind Mayful bars, they're coming for me, surely. That's all I could think. I felt as though I was gasping for air, drowning in a sea of cold sweat.
Poor Soseki-san. His experiences in London have scarred him deeply.
Oh, the world seemed to close in around me. I quietly recited a prayer in Hamida Muda. Internal emptiness! Internal entity! The end is coming for me, surely! No sutras are to resound in my courtroom. Oh no, to be resound in my courtroom, please.
And now we come to the crucial part. That's when it happened. blah, blah, blah.
Hold it! What question? What exactly did he say?
Well, now, you should hear that from the horse's mouth, I think. Don't you, Mr. Rider Man?
No! Ugh!
Out with it, you yokel hack! What did you say to her? What did you say to the dying English woman? Reaper of the Bailey or something?
Well, in truth, I'd been catching crabs at the water's edge and building castles in the sand, you see.
Awesome.
Well, the seaside is a place to be at leisure, I suppose, even for a grown man. But then all of a sudden, in the little beach hut, a young girl's panic-stricken cries for her, no,
For help.
cries for her.
Cries
For
for
her
help.
help, yes! Pierce the air!
Ray!
I ran onto the beach to see what was happening, to find the defendant leaning over the collapsed victim. As soon as Inspector Osunaga saw Miss Brett on the ground, he sprinted for help. And then, just a moment later, I heard a faint moan, a moan from the dead English woman. I nearly jumped out of my skin!
But what did you ask her, Soseki-san?
I asked her, who did this to you? Don't protract this any longer. How did the woman respond? She didn't say anything in response. But when in the stand, you'll answer the questions asked to you unambiguously.
Unambiguously, yes.
Fuck. Now, without evasion or reticence, I demand that you amend your testimony. I will!
This is new. Jay?
Oh, it's new. Oh.
Yeah.
I asked her, who did this to you? But she never replied.
So you tried to find out who the culprit was.
He who asked the question is a fool for a minute. He who does not remains a fool forever. And having been labeled a victim twice during my crime.
Oh, sorry. That was actually a Meeseeks? No. Meekins.
Meekins.
True. Yes, then label me victim.
And having been labeled a criminal twice during my listen, they all live in there. Labeled a criminal twice during my time in Great Britain, I was quick to make up my mind.
Now,
They all live in their
Running
fighting to
around
speak.
inside your brain.
Yes, just rattling around in there.
now,
I'm still around, sir!
weren't you only labeled a criminal one time? What happened the second time? Exactly. I don't
Maybe
know.
by two different people?
Hmm.
Better to be a fool for a minute than remain a fool in prison forever!
However, you've indicated that the victim failed to respond. Is that correct?
I know why the English woman said nothing. She was ignoring me because of my stoop and mustache, because I am Japanese!
Oh dear, Soseki-san has really developed a dislike for the English, it seems.
You're allowed to dislike this one, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are allowed. No, you're allowed to dislike the English. Having read the report on his time in Great Britain, I can't say I'm surprised at his xenophobia.
But the English woman didn't ignore you at all. Did she, Mr. Riderman?
Well, yes, all right. She didn't respond in a manner of speaking, I suppose.
Get on with it.
Uh-huh.
She just lifted a trembling finger and pointed in the direction of the defendant.
Miss Brett pointed a finger at the defendant. Soseki-san, is that really true?
It's not easy to stand here and say this, but when we first entered the beach hut, the Englishwoman was sprawled on the floor before us, with the student girl standing in the far side of her. So when I asked, who did this to you?
Ha.
The Englishwoman summoned her last ounce of strength and pointed a trembling finger to the back of the hut.
Okay, that wording is extremely suspicious.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there
Also,
a hole at the
Because we
wall?
know how it happened.
Yeah.
yeah, but I just read this, saw culprit, and I was like, oh, that's where Giselle was laying.
And I just like
Just-
the little graphic of the pointing finger, like you.
You.
You did
Pointed
this
to where
me.
she was stabbed.
Which was, it can't be denied, in the direction the student girl who stands accused today.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I thought it was going to be like, oh, she's just accusing her because she knows of no one else, but no, this is very clearly pointing
The
behind
hole
her.
in the wall. Oh yeah.
No.
Soseki-san, why on earth do you neglect to mention this in your original testimony? But, Fiddlesticks, I say! This is not a British court of law. You will respond in Japanese.
Eh?
Chopsticks. Oh, yes, of course. The Englishwoman did point her finger towards the back of the hut. What? But I was trembling, and she was trembling, and everything was kind of a blur. And thinking about it, I feel as though perhaps she was pointing in a slightly different direction. Actually, no, not slightly, in a very different direction to where the girl was standing.
Good boy. Nice job, Soseki.
Good boy.
To somewhere in the back of the hut where nobody was standing at all.
What, the second one, a snack?
You mean that your memory of events and the direction in which the victim was pointing are both unclear?
Yes, that's it. Unclear. It was very, very unclear.
Thank you for your honest testimony.
Your Excellency, surely this proves the matter beyond all reasonable doubt.
You just said it was unclear.
It proves it! Yes, the woman may barely have been conscious, and yes, perhaps her finger wavered slightly. But there can be no doubt that this was an attempt by the victim to confirm the identity of her assailant. Why?
Huh?
Because the court can see there was none other than the accused in the direction the victim was pointing.
Mhm.
It is now abundantly clear that no one beside the accused could possibly have committed this crime. Let's ignore where the photo was taken from.
I am inclined to agree.
No, you're not.
I'm inclined. And in the absence of any credible argument to the contrary, because I can't hear you people behind the screen, I believe we can now conclude this trial.
Shut up, Josh.
No. No!
The headline's writing itself. Dashing lawyers, hopes dashed. 92 point across the whole page. We'll do an extra edition.
I do like that everyone thinks she's handsome. This is a serious blow, Susanoo. Unless we're able to identify the true culprit and substantiate our claim with evidence, the judge will give his ruling and the trial will be over.
But that's impossible, Father. We don't even know the crime was committed yet. Or we don't even know how the crime was committed yet.
Impossible though the task may seem, we have no choice. We must think back over everything we've learned thus far. Somewhere in all those details, I'm confident we'll find the clue we need.
Ray gave us her account of how events unfolded in the defendant's antechamber before the trial resumed. She told us what happened at the precise moment Miss Brett was killed.
Englishwoman was sitting at the back of the hut, listening to what I was saying. And then a moment later, she suddenly got to her feet before collapsing on the floor in front of me with a knife in her back.
How could Miss Brett have been stabbed in the back in a beach hut that was empty but for herself and Ray?
God damn it.
Somewhere amid all the information we've gathered so far, there must be an answer to that question.
We're pretty confident there is.
Yeah.
I take it then that the defense has nothing further to add.
Shut up!
So, the gallant yokel student's luck finally runs out. I can't say I'm surprised.
In that case, I'm ready to deliver my final verdict on this matter.
This is a crucial turning point now. If I can't establish what really happened, it's over. Where was the real culprit hiding? And how did he or she stab the victim?
I know how.
I know how.
Oh, wow.
Your Excellency, I respectfully ask that you postpone your education for the time being.
Education?
Oh,
Edu-
to what end,
edu-
counsel?
Adjudication?
Adjudication, yeah.
Adjudication. The defense would like to present the court with an alternative theory. An alternative theory that can explain who the victim was actually trying to implicate with her dying gesture.
An alternative theory. Ha! Not exists!
There was someone else present at the scene who could have committed the crime.
What?
Say what?
And the victim, Miss Brett, tried to reveal
You can get there.
And the victim, Miss Brett, tried to reveal who it was to those around her at the time.
Good job,
Yay.
yokel.
Thank you. By mustering all her remaining strength and pointing a trembling finger in the killer's direction.
This is fiction! It is.
Is this the real life?
Very well, as you seem to be so sure of yourself, counsel, I am prepared to hear your alternative theory. So, young Ryotaro Naruhodo, if that is your real name.
Ryutaro?
It's not actually, it's Ryutaro.
Ryu.
Oh.
Have you been pronouncing Ryu from Streets like that this whole time?
Ryu from Streets.
No.
Yes, Your Excellency.
This is why I play Ken. You will present your latest theory to the court by means of this plan. At the moment the victim was stabbed, where exactly are you proposing the culprit was concealed?
I wonder if it's back over here. Okay.
No.
Naruhodo-san would never give up. And I'm a Naruhodo now. The true culprit who fatally stabbed Miss Brett was concealed in this location here.
Mazel tov. Oh, are you mad, counsel? Oh, that's crazy. You're suggesting the culprit was outside the hut.
What?
Order. But the student lawyer Naruhodo-san, Esquire, that makes no sense at all!
You've just pointed out the exact spot where I was hiding to get my scoop snap.
No.
Point that out,
No.
dumbass.
Idiots.
But I didn't see any suspicious individuals loitering about. I can swear to that. Dumbass. Moron.
How dumb can a man be?
Idiot.
Obviously, if the culprit had been outside the huts, there's no way he or she could have stabbed the victim who was inside the huts.
Actually, Prosecutor Aochi, there was a way.
Eh.
And, in point of fact, the defense can provide evidence strongly suggesting that is precisely the way Miss Brett was killed.
You're bluffing. You're bluffing, you young...
The defense's assertion is clearly too fantastical for the court to comprehend.
Then I would like a new court, please.
You will need to give us more guidance, counsel. What piece of evidence corroborates, your theory that the victim was stabbed from outside the hut?
Oh, got a little robot there, but that's okay. Got it through. Now this, I'm not totally sure what they're getting at.
The picture?
The first picture we received, I think.
This one here, with the slit.
The light in the back.
That's a possibility. Okay, I might.
Yeah, I think it's
convinced
either
that.
picture.
There's nothing really interesting about the knife itself, right? It just has blood on it.
No,
yeah.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
What evidence corroborates your theory that the victim was stabbed from outside the hut?
Do we know whose knife it is?
No, I don't think that was
I
ever
don't
made
think
clear.
so.
No.
Okay.
This.
I think that is more red herring.
This does make sense. This does make sense. I'll try it. I'll try it. Go for it.
Yeah.
The original photographic print of the crime scene?
Yes, it's clearly visible in this print. The trace of the fatal thrust was delivered from outside the beach hut.
You can take us for fools! There's no hint of any such thing!
Sir, I'm not sure that everyone present would agree. Someone at least appears to have noticed what it is that I'm referring to.
I can tell by the puddle on the floor.
Counsel, once again I must call upon you to be explicit for the court. Where on this photograph is the trace of the stabbing to which you claim took place outside the hut?
Could it perhaps be here?
Look closely, just here. In the screen at the back of the hut, you can see the effects of a blade having been forced through the reeds.
No, I can't. I can't see any such thing.
Then I would like to request a new prosecution.
My glasses are foggy.
Oh.
Then clean them.
Let me just squeaky, get that for you.
Yeah.
Now they're broken.
Throws them on the ground and steps on them. I can't see without my glasses.
Not guilty.
As the court can see, I'm not wearing a tie at all.
As the court can see, he can't see. It's true that the hut in question had 4 walls, as you'd expect. However, by parting the reeds, a knife blade could easily penetrate them.
This is extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The true culprit actually stabbed the victim from outside the beach hut. And of everyone present at the scene, there is only one person who could have done that. Only one person who was directly outside the hut when Miss Brett was killed. Raiten Menimemo-san. It could only have been you.
No!
Now. This preposterous idea leaves me almost speechless. Just look at the photograph again. There's no way. The victim lies almost exactly in the center of the beach hut, does she not? Are we to assume, as part of this partial scenario, that the assailant was a knife thrower?
Partial.
Objection! No, of course not.
We're not.
Oh, I was hoping for that.
I've always wanted a throwing knife.
I was hoping that you just kind of take that.
If you recall the testimony of the defendant about the events just before the victim's death,
inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett. But she just sat on a stool at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me as if she knew she was untouchable.
A stool.
have another look at the photograph. The slit in the reed screen would align perfectly with the back of a person who was sitting on that stool.
My word, so in fact, the victim was.
Killed whilst sitting on that stool by a stab wound to her back delivered through the reed screen. Having been attacked, Miss Brett rose to her feet instinctively. But then, unable to speak, she collapsed on the floor in the middle of the hut. Before the defendant, Membami-san's appalled eyes. And that, Your Excellency, is the truth of what happened on the beach that day.
So, how's this freak-out gonna be?
By your silence, Menimemo-san. I take it that you don't deny the charge.
This is absurd!
That will do. It would appear that we have a tactic admission of guilt from the witness. Accordingly, tacit. Oh, like a tassel. Accordingly, this court has successfully established the truth of this matter. Which means that the defendant, Membami-san, is innocent of the crime.
Great.
Your Excellency, I don't think a tassel is what you think it is.
Well, more like pronunciation. You're like tassel. And,
Shut up, Your Excellency.
no.
Oh, thank goodness. I finally made him cave.
I must say, I've never been more proud.
No, this can't be. The Ouchie clan can't. What of my growth? My growth of hope? It wasn't all an apparition. I can't accept this. I won't.
I see no reason for the continuance of this trial. I will therefore move to conclude proceedings by...
Hold it.
But why?
How would he have gotten the poisonous probably arguments?
Well, this is all very convenient. This is how the highest court in our mighty empire delivers justice, is it? Suppressing
Pretty much.
well-meaning citizens' freedom to speak and branding them as criminals.
But we've established that the victim was stabbed from outside the hut through the reed screen walls.
And no one but you... and no one but you was in place at the time to have his hand on the hilt of the blade. It's a perfectly logical deduction.
So, your argument hinges on the location of whoever stabbed the Englishwoman, does it? Well, it seems a little irrelevant now.
Irrelevant?
Where she was stabbed, how she was stabbed, it doesn't matter. I mean, whether she was stabbed at all makes no difference if you think about it. After all, this trial's already shown the whole thing hinges on something else.
Yeah, the poison.
Right.
What?
Damn it.
What are you talking about?
Brace yourself, little man. I'm talking about the fact that everything's changed. Because of the dirt you dug up.
What?
Enough obscurity. Explain yourself, witness.
What's to explain? I'm talking about the poison, of course.
Poison?
Let's ask the professor for a comment on the situation, shall we? I understand that a deadly poison you were developing was stolen from your laboratory, correct? And it's been shown that this poison was administered to the victim as Brett. Is that right?
That is correct. The unusual constriction of the victim's pupils are a sure sign that this particular poison was used.
I see. So, presumably, that means that the victim already had the poison in her body before she was stabbed.
Ah,
Given that her pupils were clearly constricted, it seems highly likely, yes. If she had been dead already, the poison could not have circulated in her blood.
I'm safe. How refreshing to hear the arguments of a metropolitan mind.
So, are you admitting to having stabbed Giselle Brett? Cause that's not gonna
it's
get
still not great.
No.
She was already dead, question mark.
No, she wasn't.
It's not a crime to stab a dead body even if you don't know it's dead.
Precisely! It matters not who jabbed who stabbed who. It matters not a job who stabbed whom in whose back and with whose blade.
I think it does.
No, I said no.
Fine.
Because quite simply, the Englishwoman's life was taken not by the knife, but by the poison.
But that can be explained by the poison being on the blade, as I already...
No.
I've forgotten already, have we, Yoko? During the very proceedings, the laboratory of the professor at your side assisted in proving that the blade of the weapon used to attack the victim had no trace of poison in it whatsoever.
So let me get this down. The facts, as skillfully established by the defense in this trial, turn out to be a headline-making red herring. Is that about right?
Well...
Ooh.
Shot. Order. But where does this leave us? How, in this case, did the poison enter the victim's body?
There was an undeniably obvious answer to that. The lady most likely imbibed it.
You mean she drank it?
Have another look at the photograph here. As you can see, a bottle of carbonated water and a glass had been knocked onto the sandy floor of the beach hut.
I don't think they mentioned that it was carbonated water, because that's fun. It was the same kind of water for Wilson's trial. That's fun.
Yay.
The poison could have been slipped into either.
So, somebody made Miss Brett drink it.
Well, what do you know? Look at those dashing eyes. This'll make for a great front page shot. Hey, why the bewitching stare? After all, I'm the last person you should be looking at. It would make no sense at all that I poisoned the woman, would it? I mean, that's been established already.
Established? What are you talking about?
Don't tell me you've forgotten. That's a little hard to believe, given that the person who established it was you.
Me? What on earth did he mean?
Ooh, let me capture those wide eyes. This is prime press fodder, this is.
It would seem that this trial is not destined to end after all. I hereby call upon the witness to give further testimony.
That's great, that is. Let me get a shot of that magnificent beard, Your Excellency. Ooh, wow. Ooh, nice. Ooh.
You claim it to be impossible that you were the one responsible for administering the poison to the victim.
This judge just like, boy, I don't like you, but I'm gonna hold it in. I'm just gonna sit here and take it.
Why is it always just getting started?
Remember your training.
You will explain to the court in your testimony the basis upon which you make that claim.
I'm a journo and I'm a man. I've never tried to run or hide from anything in my life. And I'm not about to start now, because that's many-memoism.
For a brief moment, I thought I'd illuminated the truth, but it slipped right back into obscurity again. Just where is this trial going to take us?
Oh,
To be continued.
nah. Would have been a good spot, though. Complete innocence. Oh, yes, I stabbed the English woman, and it's that very fact that proves I'm innocent. Because why would I have bothered to stab the woman if I had already poisoned her? When I heard the student girl and that pompous English murderer arguing, it got my goat. If the courts weren't going to punish Brett for what she did, someone else would have to see justice done.
So it's attempted murder at best.
So, you admit it then? That everything happened as I described? That you are the one who stabbed Miss Brett in the back through the reed screen?
You can blame this miserable country of ours. A country that bows to the pressure of foreign powers and lets murderers walk free. What kind of a future can a country like that have? That's why I did it. I did what our pathetic leaders didn't have the guts to do. Slap bang in the middle of that charming lady's back, I plunged the blade of sweet justice right in there. As someone who spends his life seeing that the truth is told, I feel really, really awful about giving false information in my testimony before. But as it turns out, there was somebody else who had it in for the victim and got to her before me. That's right, you guessed it. That pretty little student girl. Now there's a woman after my own heart.
Ew.
You're implicating Ray again.
She's the one who gave the poison to the English woman and ended her pitiful existence. And suddenly, snap, this journo here is off the hook.
I mean, I wouldn't say that.
No.
What are you talking about? I'm totally off the hook. Right?
The argument is sound, certainly. If the witness had administered the poison himself, you only needed to have waited for it to take effect. Subsequently, stabbing the victim in the back would have been entirely non-sequential.
And therefore, this reporter has nothing to do with the poisoning. Yes, it's all quite logical.
That's right, it is. Logical and true. I'm glad you've all seen the light. Justice at last.
This is unbelievable. And after I'd made so much progress in proving his guilt, is he going to get away with it now?
No, he's going to
No.
prison. He's going to prison. Don't you worry about it. But she might
What
also
year-
go to prison. So.
What year is this set in?
I don't
No,
remember.
let's just stick with prison. Let's just say prison.
Okay.
Oh.
Think of Kazuma-sama and Naruhiro-san. They never stopped looking for a way forward until the judge's final gavel.
That was the final
There it
gavel.
That... Very well then, counsel, proceed with that, or what I assume to be your final cross-examination in this trial.
Yes, Your Excellency.
Okay. Tell me more, bud. I am so mad right now.
So, you do admit that you had murderous intentions towards Miss Brett then?
Ha! The woman's very existence offends my sense of justice.
Your sense of... He's claiming some sort of righteous indignation.
She was pure evil, a cold-blooded killer who'd committed murder right here on our empire's soil. But did our good-for-nothing government do anything? Not a chance. So I had to step in. Fly the flag of justice. Put things right for the people. Yes, it was my civic duty. That's what drove me to do it.
So, in summary, murderous intentions then.
Whatever you want to call it, the point is this. That English woman was a blight. So I had to do what was right for society.
Yet a real wrong was done by the student girl in the dock. A crime for which she must pay.
Obviously, because the poisoning was nothing to do with me at all. Nope, already read that.
So you still maintain that you didn't give the poison to the victim?
Obviously, that'd be like putting a belt on your trousers when you're already wearing braces like these.
Those braces are gonna be involved in your freak out, aren't they?
Yeah, they're gonna destroy me.
You and your camera.
Yeah.
The accused administered the poison, following which this witness stabbed the victim. An unforgivable act, certainly, but not one of murder. The crime rests on the accused's shoulders. That is how the law works, you see, Yoko. Who knows? You may even learn something here today.
That's ridiculous. B, a prediction. He's gonna pull his suspenders so hard that they snap and his pants fall down.
Oh.
Please.
2 consecutive attempts on her life in the space of 2 minutes? Quite the day for the victim.
Do something that evil and you've got it coming. That's how the law works, the law of reckoning.
That's not the kind of law this court upholds.
Then I would like a new court too.
Understandable.
You will reiterate why you were compelled to stab the victim then, witness.
Another.
What exactly were they arguing about?
About what happened in that restaurant 9 months ago, that's what. The student girl was laying into the English woman for killing her beloved mentor, Dr. Wilson.
Yes, John H. Wilson. A professor of medicine invited here from England by Professor Ikitoba, no less.
Somebody
Invented in a lab deep underneath London.
Deep
All
in a
the
lab
correct
in Nebraska.
All the correct mispronunciations.
Wasn't there a cartoon show about Sherlock Holmes where Wilson was a robot?
Was
If anybody knows the answer to that, let me know. I need to know about that.
Please.
Right,
I swear there was.
but the English woman just jeered.
Her case was to be heard on by the British Consular Court in Shanghai. However, there is little doubt that she would simply have been acquitted and sent back to her homeland a free woman.
It was eating that student girl up inside. You could see it. I really felt for her.
Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century, that's the one.
Oh, what's happening? Oh.
Ah! Objection! I can't. I can't stand here and listen to this tripe.
Ray?
Young girl, you stand accused here. You can't just blurt out whatever you feel like it.
The bailiff will tackle you.
No, you can't. Sorry, but I'm in the middle of some very important testimony here. Just keep quiet and listen.
But this awful man is making all this up. Susato, please. You have to make them listen.
Who's she talking to? I don't know.
Who's Susato?
Who's that?
Oh no.
It's my pet name for him.
Oh.
Return to the dock at once, Mamami-san. We are in the middle of the cross-examination.
Your Excellency, please, I implore you. That journalist is clearly not a trustworthy witness.
Exactly. He's a filthy, rotten, black-hearted, bigoted, great peeping Tom.
Whoa, take it easy there.
Please, I really think the court should hear what the defendant has to say.
Your Excellency, I see no need to whatsoever to entertain the accused remarks.
I will grant the request of the defense.
Why?
Because I hate you.
Appearance of Toad.
This is likely the final cross-examination of these proceedings. As such, I believe it would be ill-advised to stifle the defendant's obvious concerns. So, whilst recognizing that this contravenes, yes,
Yes.
regular protocol, I hereby call upon the defendant to speak.
Oh.
So you're saying that the reason that the defendant has never spoken up in any of these trials is because they're not allowed to? That's bullshit.
That makes sense.
It does?
Yeah.
Wait.
Well, during just in the middle of an
like-
examination.
Yeah, during a
Well-
cross-examination, no. they're
Yeah,
not
like
allowed to
in
speak.
like regular real world court, you obviously don't want the defendant blurting out and interrupting people.
Right.
We never get anywhere.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. It was nothing to do with Dr. Wilson. We were discussing the stolen poison.
The stolen poison that killed the victim, you mean?
Police here to get him.
I suspected her of being the one to steal it. I mean, just think about how she killed Dr. Wilson.
That's true. Additionally, Miss Brett certainly had knowledge of the new poison.
But surely it would be no easy task to steal a highly secret toxin being developed by the government.
Indeed, all visitors to the laboratory are thoroughly searched when they leave. Even if a thief managed to avoid being seen by myself or a colleague, getting the poison out would be very difficult.
For the police are everywhere.
Oh.
That's true. I pestered Professor Mikatoma until he agreed to show me the poison when I visited his laboratory. But as I left, I was searched from top to tail. Especially the tail.
Tip to toe, from trunk to skunk.
Miss Brett rather bluntly revealed the existence of the toxin we've been developing, you see.
From trunk to skunk. Wow.
I get it, and I don't want. So.
Just let's
So
all move
much.
past my remarks, okay?
No.
What is going on in my neighborhood?
I heard what you said.
What the? Okay, you keep thinking they're getting quieter and then they get louder.
They're just making
And
circles
since
around
his-
your apartment.
Oh god.
We
Oh
will.
god, they found me.
And since Suzeki-san expressed such an interest in it, I felt unable to refuse.
Shut up out there!
Like clearly someone's in trouble and I feel bad
Yeah.
for it. But the
It's
timing.
just- yeah.
It's very Keystone Cops out there. Unfortunately.
No, no.
Obviously, I gave nothing away, other than the fact that it was an extremely potent substance.
I'm very ashamed of myself. It's just that I've had a singularly terrible experience with a terrible poison. I want to look my own enemy in the eye. Surely you can understand that.
What are you talking about?
Are we missing a
To
case?
find out if my
It never ends.
I gotta get my composure back. To find out if my suspicions were true, I confronted Miss Brett about the poison. I told her that if there were to be an incident involving it somehow, it wouldn't just be the university. The military would be dragged into it, the whole government even. It would be a complete disaster.
And how did Miss Brett respond to your concerns?
She was like, oh, ho, ho, ho. She just curled those beautiful lips of hers, and she didn't know the first thing about it. and said she didn't know the first thing about it. In English, actually.
Ah, yes. Menimomo-san, one small question if you don't mind.
I do mind. Can't you see I'm busy?
Clearly you were outside the beach hut listening in whilst the defendant and Miss Brett were conversing. Presumably...
Do you want somebody else to take the characters for a little bit?
No!
Okay.
No, I don't!
Okay.
Presumably...
Okay, get a handle on it.
Presumably then, it was you who wrote this article about what you've heard. Exclusive! Deadly poison stolen from Humane Medical Research Laboratory. The story was published in this morning's edition of Shoyu News. The details are too accurate for it to have been written by anyone else.
Sorry, don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, look at this! The entire article is almost what I said to Miss Brett, word for word!
Well, Menimomo-san,
As a journo and as a citizen of a free country, I don't have to reveal my sources. That's a founding principle of Menimemoism.
Father's clearly right about this. That reporter did write that article, and he based it on what he overheard from outside the hut.
Okay, great. An article about poison that was stolen from the lab. A reporter Menimemo based on the information. Okay, yeah.
So that's what it was all about. You were trying to cover up the fact that you were listening in. That's why you came up with that stinking story about me arguing with her.
Shut up! My stories never stink. Look, whatever you say, little girl, it doesn't alter the facts. Your Excellency, there's something I want to say, and I want it to go on record.
Too bad.
Very well, you may amend your formal testimony again.
Upset?
The point is, if you'd poisoned someone, there'd be no reason to then go and stab the person as well.
Perhaps you doubted the efficacy of the poison and thought to make sure the victim would die.
That's horse dung.
What?
Sorry, shit.
Bull duders. That would be like pouring pepper on your Chinese ramen before you'd even tasted it. Completely reckless. Although it might surprise you to learn that I am a bit of an impetuous pepper pourer, as it happens.
Once the victim has taken the poison, she would have been only minutes away from death. And yet, this man proceeded to stab her in the back as well. There has to have been a good reason for that.
If it was the reporter who gave the poison to Miss Brett, then clearly they must have done it prior to Ray entering the hut.
Yes, that's undeniable.
But between him leaving the hut and the victim being stabbed, there was one very crucial change in the situation.
Sorry? What change?
The reporter overheard the conversation between Ray and the Englishwoman.
Ah, yes, that's it! That's when Menimomo-san first found out the exact nature of the poison he'd used. That could be the key here.
If the victim had unwittingly taken the poison already, the reporter would have had no reason to stab her. On the face of it, that logic sounds entirely reasonable.
But there's no question that this man was responsible for Miss Brett's murder.
If we could think of a plausible explanation as to why he might have stabbed her even after the poisoning, I feel sure that everything would drop into place. And that's what we should be looking for.
Yes, I agree. And in order to do that, I must try to glean more information.
he didn't know that she had consumed the poison.
So, I have a theory. First of all, it seems obvious that this is what we should be objecting to, because
Yeah.
that's what everybody's basically saying. And also, we just had... Which one of these was upgraded? This one was just updated. But I don't fully understand why I would present this on this yet. The article about poison. Okay. Following the lecturate you may by Saseki Natsume on the 11th of August, it's come to light that a very disturbing incident took place. A deadly poison being secretly developed in the university's forensic science laboratory was stolen. Did we already read this? I think so.
We should still reread it anyway.
Sure.
Yeah.
Even the smallest amount entering the body, either via our mouth or via a wound from a poison-laced blade, would prove fatal in minutes. Current methods cannot detect the newly developed chemical. The university would have to be consulted. Onset of symptoms occurs in minutes, starting with impaired breathing and ending with acute contraction of the pupils prior to death. Such symptoms would be suggestive of this toxin. It's apparently an entirely new synthesis of alkaloids and rumored to have been commissioned by the military. I don't think I saw anything that really grabbed my attention about that. Except for the fact that, yes, current methods cannot detect the newly developed chemical. Except that we have the chemical that Dad gave us last time. Could perhaps be relevant, maybe. Maybe it is poisoned and they just... Well, no, didn't they use this on this and discover nothing?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
weren't able to detect it using that.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
I wonder if it might have to do with the pen again, but I'm not sure.
now explain your reasoning.
The empty chamber, we haven't confirmed if there was poison in it or not.
Okay, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I would say that presenting this here would make a ton of sense.
Yeah, that's definitely how it happened, but
Yeah.
I don't think I think we're another step ahead still. We need to do something else first.
This just got updated. This last thing,
Yes.
this thing that we have that we're looking at here seems to be what we should be objecting to. I'm a little tempted to just present it and see what happens. But I'm gonna say it first.
You have
I don't
five
see how-
live.
I don't see how that would work here though. Like
I-
on that statement.
I'm up for suggestions.
Yeah. No reason you...
So we'd have to come up with a reason as to why he would want to stab her after poisoning her.
Well, we are going by the assumption that she did get poisoned after getting stabbed. No, before getting stabbed.
Right.
Yeah, she was
Yeah, I think
poisoned
they-
before she was stabbed, and I think we know for a fact that that's what happened.
Yeah, because Dad said that if she'd been stabbed first, then the poison wouldn't have spread if she didn't have, blood flow,
Yeah.
blood circulation. So she wouldn't have shown these symptoms like the pupils contracting.
I mean, the only reason that I can think of that he would stab her after she had been poisoned is to pass the buck.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how I would really say that.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm still tempted to do this. I'm gonna try it.
Objection!
Haha!
Oh, okay.
Fine.
Well, I
Right.
can think of one reason.
What? What?
But before I explain, I'd like you to confirm something for the court.
That moment where you figure out what the answer is, not because you figured out the logic, but because you were paying attention to what was happening.
Did you glean all of the information for this newspaper article from what you overheard outside the hut?
Of course he did! There can be no question of that! After all, when we were all in the laboratory together, all we were told was that there was a terrible toxin.
And there is one more important fact to consider. According to the witness, Membami-san's verbal attack against the victim began as soon as she entered the hut.
It's the idea maybe that he didn't know it didn't need to be through an open wound.
But he wrote the article.
I don't know.
Yeah, but did he know everything?
Hmm.
In other words, it would have been impossible for her to have slipped the poison into Miss Brett's drink.
Where are you going with this, Council?
Manny Memo-san has made it quite clear that he observed every single thing that happened in the beach hut. If the defendant had somehow found an opportunity, this man would have seen it.
Which means that Miss Brett couldn't have imbibed the poison whilst the defendant was present. In fact, it must have been administered to her before Membami-san entered the hut.
I'm not completely sure that I'm following all this. I might have to look this back over.
Yeah,
again.
I think I understand.
I'm not sure. I think I'm with Ark on that one.
Hmm.
Can you explain
Yes.
that?
Do you want me to?
Sure, go for it.
I
Oh,
think-
well, I meant like I think I'm just getting a little bit lost with what they're saying right now.
But
mean,
I
they're
would like to
essentially-
still-
Right now, they're just saying that the poison had to have been given to her before Ray entered the hut.
Okay.
Mhm.
Hmm.
But-
okay, I
but
guess.
why?
Yeah. How can we know that?
Well, how else would she have been given the poison?
After Ray entered the
She
hut?
was being watched
No, that-
by Many Memo, remember? And Many Memo would have
Oh.
seen her put the poison in the drink.
Oh, so the problem is that Many Memo never said that she put the poison in the drink? That's the problem?
Yeah, the problem is that there didn't seem to be an opportunity for her to have put the poison in the drink.
Okay, I'll take it. Sure. All right.
Okay.
Judgy?
Yes, very articulately put.
When I walked into the hut, I immediately started to press Miss Brett about the poison.
At which point, Many Memo-san overheard some worrying information.
Worrying information? What worrying information?
The information which he subsequently included in his newspaper article, namely, that the poison was being developed in strict secrecy, and that it couldn't be readily obtained.
Absolutely. In fact, that's quite an understatement. The only possible place it could come from is my lab.
The fact that this bit is in the same trial as "Where's the problem in this read screen? I can't see it" is kind of that's wide. That's a wide gap.
Hmm.
And furthermore, anyone afflicted by the poison would exhibit telltale signs in death.
I get it.
The extreme constriction of the pupils. Yes, it's quite stark when you see it. There are other poisons that show similar symptoms, but not among new substances that are undetectable.
So,
In other words, yeah?
I think what they're actually saying is that this poison is so rare that it's only like a select few people that could have done it, and he didn't know about that. He didn't know how traceable it would be.
Okay.
In other words, it would be clear that the victim's life had been ended by the use of this particular poison, which would reduce the number of suspects to only a handful of people.
Ah.
Everyone in my laboratory is aware of the unique properties of the toxin we've been developing. None of them would be foolish enough to attempt to use it for some nefarious deed. Membami-san is being no exception.
Therefore, we can conclude that whoever administered this unique poison to the victim was a layperson, unaware of its telltale properties. In other words, someone like you, Raiten Many Memo.
Okay, I follow now.
It was you who stole the poison from that laboratory that day. And it was you who administered it to the unwitting victim. But you quickly realized. That was a terrible mistake.
Because the poison caused such unusual symptoms and was so traceable.
As you listened in from the far side of the beach hut's thin walls, you learnt of these facts. But you'd already given the victim the poison at that point. It was too late. So you hatched a plan to disguise your mistake. A plan that involved stabbing the victim in the back through the reed screen.
But what could that possibly do?
Isn't it obvious, Counsel?
No.
The plan was to kill Miss Brett before the poison could take effect.
Once in the blood, the poison causes the concept of pupil constriction. But he had hoped to precipitate the victim's death before that happened, hadn't he?
Exactly. Because without any revealing signs of the new secret poison's use, no one would have ever suspected.
This is extraordinary.
Yes, the effects of the poison meant it would be too easily identified, so the killer had to mask its use. Which he attempted to do by plunging a knife into the middle of the victim's back.
Order. The argument presented is sound. The court is satisfied that it warrants consideration. Does the prosecution have a counter-argument it wishes to put forward?
Well, there are a number of, yes, I counter completely.
The prosecution's evasive response clearly shows that in much the same way he nurtures the remnants of his topknot, he is clinging to lost hope.
Lost? Hope? How dare you call my top knot lost?
I mean, look at it.
It is. Hold it.
It's right there. Here we go.
You pathetic, useless, fallen samurai.
Fallen? Who are you calling fallen? My
I
program profile.
I don't need a counter argument.
What are you talking about?
It should be blatantly obvious. I stole the poison, you say. Gave it to the victim, you say. Stabbed her, you say. Lots of
There we
fine
go.
theories. But I don't need a counter argument because you don't have an argument yourself. Where's your evidence? Yes, you make it all sound so plausible, don't you? But without evidence, it means nothing. Whereas I base my news on facts.
Facts? What do you mean? Explain yourself.
What are these facts you speak of?
I mean what the professor said earlier in this trial. It's all here in my many memos. Every word, every slip of the tongue, all noted. That's what the Show You News is famous for. It's the power of the printed word.
But surely it would be no easy task to steal a highly secret toxin being developed by the government.
Indeed. All visitors to the laboratory are thoroughly searched when they leave.
Oh, shit.
Even if a thief managed to avoid being seen by myself or a colleague, getting the poison out would be very difficult.
How's that then? Blown the story wide open? See, I, Raiten Many Memo, a mere reporter from the Show You News, couldn't possibly have stolen that poison from the professor's laboratory.
Ah! But there can't be any question of it. He must have stolen the poison that day. He stole it and used it to kill.
Edie, put the poison back in my laboratory.
And if that's the case, as you've identified, the poison itself is the definitive evidence we need. Because whoever stole it from the laboratory that day is the true culprit here.
What's your point, you annoyingly handsome country bumpkin? Have I told you you're pretty yet? Have I mentioned that?
My point is, there is one way that you, Menimemo-san, could have stolen the poison that day.
I have heard enough verbal conjecture now, thank you. What the court must be shown is evidence. What proof do you have that this witness stole the poison on the day in question?
Now, obviously this is the method, but is this what I present now? I don't...
I think it's
What
not,
else? Yeah, what else would you present here other
I-
than the pen?
I don't know, let's do it.
The proof, Your Excellency, is this fountain pen.
A fountain pen? How can that possibly be relevant?
These magical pens somehow seem to have enough ink to write many thousands of kanji characters.
Magic.
I believe they arrived in our country for the first time some 15 years ago now.
What is this magic?
Bah! I swear by weasel hair calligraphy brush and nothing else. These newfangled pens are merely a fad.
Well, as forward-thinking man of words, obviously I love my fountain pen. So, what did they do to the sea? What did they do? What did they do to the sea?
It's French! The French got to it.
No, not French!
Suck up a soup con of sumptuous ink, and there's one, and one's work is awash with words in a blink of an eye.
Did he say
Gomez,
it right?
do not apologize.
Did he say it
Do not
right?
apologize.
Is
I
that-
have
I have
no
no idea.
Well,
Swepcorn.
I was asking...
Soupçon.
Soupçon.
Soupçon. That's right.
It is?
Is it?
Well, not the pronunciation of that word, but
Oh.
fountain pens have a small reservoir in the barrel, into which ink is sucked up through the nib of the pen in order to write with later.
You.
What does all this talk about sucking up ink have? Ah.
Anybody want to say that?
Nope. And just as it's possible to suck up ink in the reservoir, it's also possible to eject it through the nib pen again, of course.
My word, can this really be?
Well, Menimemo-san, when you saw the deadly poison before your eyes in the laboratory that day, you used your fountain pen, your very lifeblood, to steal some of it, didn't you? By siphoning the poison up through the nib and into the pen's reservoir.
Yeah! I don't have my hat for protection.
Oh, that's why he has so much ink on his hand.
Oh, he's dead.
Oh, because he emptied the ink that was in it.
Mm.
More absurdity. That never happened.
True, we've heard that there were procedures in place to prevent thefts like this from that laboratory. But would have anyone thought to look inside the fountain pen of all places?
No, I'm a little ashamed to say, but for our fear of offending our guests, such a detailed search would not have been conducted.
Well, this is quite startling, I must say.
I remind the court that this pen was found in the clutches of the victim when she died. In other words, it was dropped at the scene by Menimemo-san. So the crucial question is, when exactly was this pen dropped?
Are you suggesting?
Yes.
The natural conclusion is that in your haste to act whilst the victim was distracted for a moment, you dropped the pen after you emptied the poison from it into her glass.
Well, there could be any number of alternative explanations. For example, the witness could have been using his pen to write down details of his conversation with the victim. And when shocked by one of her outrageous answers, the pen fell from his quivering hand.
No, that can't be. If it was, how do you explain why the pen was devoid of ink?
What?
As you can see for yourself if you examine the evidence, there would appear to be no ink present in the reservoir. What newspaper reporter goes to interview someone with nothing in his pen? No. The pen was dropped after the poison that filled its reservoir had been emptied into the victim's glass.
Witness, what do you have to say in your defense?
So this is how our modern justice system works, is it?
Yes.
So what if the ink in my pen runs dry? So what if my pencil snaps? I can always claw my way back into the game. I have plenty in reserve.
Oh!
Somebody's get murdered.
You claim I sucked the poison up into my pen. That's wild speculation and nothing more. If you thought you could bring down a fine, upstanding citizen with a trick like that, think again.
It looks as though it's going to take one final decisive blow to finish this matter.
As I see it, the situation is now very simple. Pick up the pencils. It rests upon whether or not this witness did indeed steal the poison on the day in question. And therefore, it all depends upon whether or not the defense can prove that he did with evidence. Yes.
Ha! No such evidence could possibly exist.
Test the pen!
Yeah.
Memo-san, this is how our modern justice system works.
What?
I know.
In the courtroom, evidence is everything. Something you would do well to remember. Because we are well past the point of speculation at this stage, I assure you.
Very well, then. I call upon the defense to present the aforementioned evidence.
This is it then. This will be the final piece in the puzzle. The defense can prove, by means of this item, that it was the witness's pen that was used to steal the poison.
Counsel, what is that bottle?
This bottle contains the unique chemical reagent that can identify the poison in question.
Yes, that poison is an entirely new synthesis of alkaloids developed by my colleagues and I. It would be impossible to detect traces of it by any other method.
Or, from another perspective, simply with this chemical reagent, anybody at all could check for traces of the poison.
A reagent? What?
One drop of the contents of this bottle on the tip of your fountain pen, Memo-san, is all it will take to solve this case beyond all reasonable doubt.
No, you can't. I won't.
Your crimes are bad enough, but at least know when to admit defeat.
Your Excellency, the defense requests permission to carry out the test on the fountain pen at once.
This isn't my fault! The Empire drove me to do this, trying to hold its head up high above a civilized nation. I took up arms in the form of the mighty pen, all in the name of justice and righteousness! Many memos!
No!
Susanna, with me!
I'm there!
What? What?
This is all the talk!
Oh!
Did I do it right? That was a Susanna takedown, wasn't it?
Not quite. That was a Ryutaro takedown.
You didn't use the suspenders.
The instant the first drop of the Regent touched the nib of the fountain pen, it was clear to everyone present.
When I saw it there in the lab, the poison, the devil got hold of me, and I decided to do it on a whim. I excused myself and emptied all the ink down the sink in the bathroom, washing the reservoir out carefully.
And then you waited for an opportunity to suck some of the poison, didn't you? Into your fountain pen.
Yes, that's right.
Answer me one thing, Minimomo-san. Why did you steal it? For what purpose?
Isn't it obvious? To find out what it was made of and expose it in an article. I mean, it was a secret project after all, too juicy for a journal like me to pass up.
Then why did the English woman end up dead?
I went into that hut intending to quiz her on the situation, that's all. As a reporter. A known killer enjoying full freedom, evading justice by leaving the country. I told her what I thought about it. And she just laughed in my face.
She just dead.
Oh, what's this? A Far Eastern caveman purporting to practice journalism. Really? You must learn the difference between reporting and listening at doorways, you ignorant plebeian.
What did you call me?
This country with its pretensions to a justice system, to a free press, it's really very depressing. You see our superior ways in the West, yet you lack the mental capacity to emulate them. Get out of here, you oaf. Get out and crawl back into the cave where you came from.
That's when I remembered about the deadly poison I happened to have in my pen at the time.
What a terrible tale.
In my head, I knew I should just get out of there as quickly as possible, but I couldn't. I couldn't let her get away with what she'd done, when she clearly had no remorse at all. I suppose it was my journo spirit getting all fired up.
I'd like to ask you something.
Yeah?
You often talk about justice. But surely, as a journalist, you could have used other means to deliver the justice you sought.
There's no justice in the press.
Sorry?
After that trial 9 months ago, I kept digging and digging to find out what had happened in that courtroom. And finally, I discovered the truth. It was a cover-up, that's what it was.
A cover-up? What do you mean?
I would remind you of your position, witness. Be careful of what you say.
Shut up, Beardy. Oh, come on, doesn't it strike you as strange? We're suddenly not allowed to convict a foreign national. Consular jurisdiction should never have come into it. And yet that puffed up English woman was going to sail away into the sunset, a free woman. The only possible explanation is that behind the scenes, some deal had gone down between Britain and Japan.
What sort of deal?
I'd done my research, dug up all the dirt. It was all ready to be published. But you know what happened? The editor just tore the article up. Wonder.
Wonder?
Wonder?
Oh no, the police got her.
No.
I thought I had a minute.
Oh.
He came under pressure from the government, you mean?
If our government
That's
is
my
going
one
to
line for the next 5 minutes.
if our government is going to let criminals walk free, if they're gonna crush the free press, then what choice do I have but to see that justice is done myself?
Let's not forget, Menimemo-san, that you committed murder yourself, and you tried to lay the blame on the defendant's door. I'm sorry, but you're no better than Giselle Brett.
Ooh, low blow.
The truth is, you have no right to talk about justice at all.
I suppose. I don't hate him.
Me neither.
It would appear that we have reached a conclusion in this trial at last. Counsel for the defense, Ryotaro Naruhodo, if that is your real name.
It's not.
Oh!
I mean,
Yes! Sorry, Your Excellency. Just musing in a manly way here.
It's almost unbelievable this is your first experience in the Supreme Court. It was an excellent performance. In truth, it very much reminded me of your cousin's exploits.
Oh! Naruhodo-san. Ryunosuke, you mean?
The way he handled the trial 9 months ago, and the way you handled this one. It gives me hope that we are genuinely entering a new era of justice in this land.
That's very flattering, Your Excellency.
Hearing the defense you put forward today made me feel most keenly that the future of our justice system will be forged by you and your contemporaries.
Thank you.
I picked a weird time to notice this. Those little circles on the banisters in the back, aren't those Phoenix's
Oh,
badge?
yeah!
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
Oh, hey, yeah.
So, Prosecutor Aochi, do you have any final thoughts?
Huh? Oh my god!
Oh,
Oh my god!
Oh no!
Prosecutor Aochi?
Let's talk about this, okay?
Oh.
Hey, let's talk. Let's talk.
Takatsuchi Aochi of the Aochi clan have been bested by a Kalo youth not once now, but twice. If there was any shred of my former self left, it has withered and died here today.
Gosh, your journey to cultural enlightenment sure took a while, didn't it?
Silence! Rather than living on in shame, I will end it all now with this blade. For that is a true path to Aochiism.
Ouchie!
He's bluffing.
His hair.
One hopes that's the only way in which he'll be modeling himself after the witness.
He's gonna give himself the biggest ouchie.
Sprig of my top knot. The time is right for farewell.
Oh.
Hope is lost forever. Takatsuchi.
Just go for the hair. Okay, thank you.
Hey, it's Arch.
Oh.
Goodbye!
Yeah.
true Lemonhead?
Hello.
Hello.
If
Did
this
he
is
have
all
a-
you've ever seen of Ace Attorney, that's it. You've seen everything.
Yes, you understand it all.
It's all downhill from here. Also, I didn't look because I was distracted by everything else. Did he happen to have a sake glass next to him or something?
I didn't
Oh,
look.
I don't
I
look
didn't
for
see.
it.
I hope he did.
Now, in regard to the defendant, Ray Mumbami-san,
Yes, Your Excellency.
I have reached my final verdict. I hereby find you
You found me?
Guilty. Oh.
Not.
you. Not
Yay!
guilty. Hooray! Yay! Sakura Bata.
Yay.
Hooray.
court is adjourned.
That was fun. I like that a lot. It is still August.
Happy August. It's over. My heart is still pounding in my chest, though. It's all I can do to just stay standing. Lawyers have such a great responsibility, such a great burden to bear. Don't they, Naruhodo-san?
Probably right.
Yeah.
Susato! Susato! Thank you! Thank you so much! You were so dashing in there.
Ray! And Father!
Honestly, I'm so touched by everything you... Oh no, I think I'm going to cry!
Aw.
It wasn't easy, but together we made it. I was on the verge of tears at the end, too.
The only reason I'm still here is because of you.
Oh no, I can't take all the credit. It took courage to tell the truth in there. You did wonderfully, Ray. So I would have to say that the congratulations belong to you.
Susato, don't be so standoffish.
Sorry?
We're friends, equals, and the trial's over. So no more of this formal super humility nonsense.
Can we have this conversation like far away from the courtroom? Because I'm still worried that we're gonna
Yeah.
get found out.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that the judge may already know I just went along with
Yeah.
It's time to celebrate with swagger, to throw caution to the wind.
Caution to the... What?
I'm the great defense lawyer, Ryutaro Naruhodo, and I'm taking you out to a milk bar tomorrow.
Oh.
Or something. Should like take me out somewhere nice.
Right. I see. I'll, think about it, Ray.
Also, what is it with milk bars? It's always milk bar.
Can't say alcohol.
Yep.
At any rate, we really got the wind of that horrid man, and it felt so good.
Yes, it was satisfying.
It really was. Isn't there anybody else we could throw together?
Oh.
I hope you're not looking at me, Ray.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, no, of course? No, of course not. No. No.
Ah, there it is at last. Ray's lovely smile.
You fought for your friend to the very last. As your father, I'm extremely proud of you, defense attorney Ryutaro Naruhodo.
Thank you. But I couldn't have done it without your help. Anyway, I think it's time to bid farewell to Ryutaro, I
To
think.
Fid
Very
Farewell.
Bid farewell. I shall miss him in a way. But it's back to Susato Mikutoba for me now.
Leave first.
No.
So, I'll never see him again then? What a terrible shame.
She put her hair up.
Ah.
What?
Wah.
Oh.
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 Wow.
What is it?
Ah, Soseki-san and Inspector Hosonaga. I do hope you've been keeping well.
Did she just like transform back into Susato in like a blink of an eye?
Magical girl
Girl
transformation.
transformation. Yeah.
Is that
She is the
really
girl
you?
named Susato.
Yes, I had to change my appearance for, well, obvious reasons, I hope, but it's me, Susato Mikotoba.
You should like put that back on sometime. Like, I don't know. I think would it be crazy? It'd be crazy. Never mind. It's crazy.
It's a second.
It's still you, Jay.
So dashing. So no. Doubly dashing it and devilish in what? Just look at you. I had no idea, Mrs. Hado-san, Esquire, that you were Loctum Sumaruhodo, Esquire's cousin.
Lockdom return!
Locked up!
Awesome!
What?
Locum!
Astonishingly astounding ace attorney.
Final drop!
Yeah!
Poor Soseki-san. So confused. I still remember the first time I ever met him. He was in a prison cell in London. What an extraordinary conundrum it was that the unwitting student from Japan found himself embroiled in. But after Naruhodo-san's skillful defense at the Old Bailey, Soseki-san was free to return to Japan.
But
And now, he seems to have earned himself a great fame as an author.
I'm stunned. That is a truly impressive disguise. Even I had no idea, and I'm the chief inspector of the police bureau, who came up with Mr. Turtle, no less.
Yes,
Kind of
it's a
suck
very
at your
good
job.
disguise.
I'm not sure you should be admitting to that, Inspector.
Why is every character I have sucking at their jobs?
Why
No
is he still
comment.
dying?
Amazing. You're a woman of many faces, I see.
Just two, really. And this was a once-in-a-lifetime event, I hope.
I hope not.
Oh, I'm not a patch on you, though, Inspector.
Eh?
Well, I am a professional, of course. Fair Gomez.
I do worry about Inspector Hosonaga sometimes, I really do.
But Van Zieks hasn't won a case since we've met him.
That's true.
Yeah.
9
I mean,
months
Ninehouse
ago,
Edgeworth.
9 months ago, when he appeared here at the Supreme Court to testify, he was undercover, disguised as the head waiter of a restaurant. And then, on the steamship to Great Britain, of course, disguised as a sailor to keep us safe on the journey.
Oh, you're right, Gomez. I forgot.
Though, that didn't help you, did it, Kazuma-sama?
Kasama! From my perspective, I have to admit that I have mixed feelings about all this. I mean, now the truth has been lost forever.
Hmm?
What do you mean?
I'm talking about the murder that the Englishwoman committed at the end of last year.
Fair enough.
Oh, yes! It was an English doctor she killed, as I understand it.
Dr. John H. Wilson, yes. The man I invited to Japan personally.
The mystery is, why did she kill him? Are you finally gonna, like, is Susato gonna talk to him about, like, hey, I found his daughter?
Well, I mean, What's he gonna do about it?
Maybe
Uh,
tell
Oh,
something
yeah.
more about him that she might not have privy to.
Also, his name was on a hit list or something at the end?
If she's gonna
Yeah.
so first of all, if she's gonna talk to anybody about that, she should talk to her dad, and I would hope that she has.
That's what I meant. So
But-
talk to
Yeah.
Dad about it.
Also, okay, so we were saying that perhaps that was a hit list.
Oh!
Thank you. Thank you very
Hey,
much.
thank you, Gomez.
Appreciate that. But if it was a hit list for Giselle Brett, how would she have received the information? Because we intercepted it, because the person who was going to give it to her died.
Maybe it was already sent as like an old message.
That's possible. I don't know. Who knows? We don't know.
Hmm.
We just don't know.
Maybe
It's
we'll
a
find out.
mystery.
We'll never find out in this mystery-driven game.
Mm.
Oh.
On the voyage to Great Britain, we had a most unexpected encounter. With Mr. Herlock Sholmes, the great detective, I mean.
Yes, I remember Mr. Sholmes as well, of course.
Ah, my heart's nemesis! How lightly you utter his name!
He invited you to dinner in his home!
Well, according to the stories published about him in The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, the detective once had a partner who helped him solve a crime.
Ah!
A
Hey!
best friend. And that man was an exceptional doctor of medicine by the name of John H. Wilson.
What? Dr. Wilson?
I just
What?
can't believe it. It's a coincidence.
How is it taking this long to come up?
People
I
don't
think
talk about
that the-
everything at once.
I think that the English doctor of medicine killed here in Japan 9 months ago must have been the friend and partner of Mr. Sholmes.
Hmm.
And if that's really true, then the poor girl won't ever see her beloved father again.
As you know, I traveled to Great Britain once myself to study.
Oh.
It was around the time you were born.
Yes, grandmother told me about it.
On returning to Japan, I took up my professorship at the Imperial Yume University. But I also serve another role, as an advisor to the government on diplomatic affairs.
Yes, I was aware of that as well.
In that case, I'm sure you understand that there are some confidential matters I cannot divulge to you.
Could you just tell me one thing? Why did you summon me back to Japan?
Oh.
There we go.
Oh?
It's been 2 months now since I returned. When I left England, it was because an urgent telegram had arrived from Japan.
Finally, answers.
It said you'd collapsed with a high fever, and you were growing weaker by day.
What? Where did that news come from?
That's what I'd like to know. Because after that long sea voyage, I found you in fine health, Father. Is there something in Great Britain that you perceived might inconvenience me in some way? Or harm me? That's really the only explanation I can think of.
Dear me. Do you reserve your most cutting glares for your father, Susato?
I mean, this is not a
Yes.
small offense, sir. Whoa!
Oh, hi.
Oh,
Manny Memo-san!
So, one throw wasn't enough for you?
I've got one last thing to say before they take me away, Professor.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Me?
I know the truth. I know you had a hand in what went on. In that visiting student's fate.
Visiting student. Giselle Brett, you mean?
No, not her. The student of law who left for Great Britain 8 months ago.
What?
Oh.
Law? He must mean Kazuma-sama. What are you talking about? What does any of this have to do with Kazuma-sama?
Nobody here in Japan knows anything about it. They don't know that the guy never made it to England, that he died on that steamship, and that he'll never... Oh.
All right.
Hello? You exist outside the courtroom?
That's suspicious.
Well, I didn't expect to find him in here. What were you officers playing at? Tell me something, Excellency! I'm seeing him from the side.
This is wrong.
This is cursed.
Yup,
I hate
yup,
this.
yup.
Get it out of my picture.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine present day Judge doing this.
I know.
Oh, I was coming to tell you that the ricksaw has arrived, Eugene. And it's a
Eugene?
good... Eugene.
Eugene.
Nugget. And it is a good job I came by. A good job? Yes.
Yeah, good job that I came out. Yeah, it's a thing. It's very British of them, honestly.
Yes, thank you for dealing with him, and I'll be there shortly.
Oh,
Oh, there we go.
Your Excellency. You didn't see anything. I'm leaving.
The trial's over. I'm not your excellency anymore. Merely your father's friend. Seishiro Shigoku.
Wow, you have a
Apparently,
name.
As the judge left the
Goku?
courtroom, he now has a name.
That's weird.
Goku?
I was just thinking earlier, like, man, we've never had a judge with a name. Oh, there he is.
And may I say that since I saw you last, you seem to have taken a lot more dashing appearance. Oh,
Says you.
Oh, I like donuts.
What?
Susato.
Did you know all along? From the start of the trial?
Called it.
A judge sees everything, Susato.
Then why are we... Nope, I'm not gonna fall for that.
Oh, right. I couldn't let you take the risk. If Seishiro here hadn't known, and then he'd recognized you. So I had a word in his ear beforehand, as an old friend. So, Seishiro, shall we?
Yes. Having ruled on that case, we now have various diplomatic issues to address.
I know it happened a little while ago now, and they're talking about different things, but
Yeah.
I kind of want to... They don't know that he never made it to England. He died on that steamship, and that he'll never... Okay, alright. He didn't really say
He
anything.
probably had some political thing he was going to try and do in England.
Yeah. You said this, yes? Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Before you go, Father.
Sorry, my dear. We shall have to return to our earlier conversation at a later date. But well done again, both of you. You did admirably.
Oh, thank you very much.
What did you think of my Sashiro sling, eh? It's been a while since I seen a man flying like that. Oh.
Why does that laugh animation seem familiar?
It's probably been reused from somewhere.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to remember where.
Whatever could Father be hiding from me? About Giselle Brett. About Dr. Wilson. And now it seems, according to the reporter, about Kazuma-sama. I'm going to have to bring this up with Father sometime. And nobody else is around. That's a death
He's
flag.
dead.
That's a death flag, man.
No.
Decisions, Migatomo-san, Esquires, what could I word?
Yes, those were words that you just said at me. Yes, of course, Oseki-san. What is it?
Can I please word at you, please?
I think perhaps it could be fate that you are meeting again like this now. Yes. You see, there's something I need to tell you.
Oh God, what's it now?
Oh?
Okay, so she was pawing at the door, so I cracked it open, and she
Oh.
literally did the Grandpa Simpson thing where she walked in, spun around a little bit, and walked out. So I closed the door again, and then she was upset.
I still exist.
I don't want to
Now-
leave the room. I just want to know that the option to leave the room is open.
Yeah. Now, I wonder, he talked about a second trial being a defendant. We
Mhm.
never
Yeah.
had that.
Is it?
Yeah.
There wasn't like some like little optional thing in the menus I could have picked between these two games, is there?
Don't think so.
Okay, yeah, I didn't.
I
think
know
that
this
was the
game
case.
has additional content outside of the two main games, but I'm not sure if we've reached the point where we do that yet.
I think we're most likely going to see those things after we're done with both of these games.
Yeah.
The
Wah!
a DLC incident?
Deal 6.
Does that-
9. Oh, I believe
I believe.
that it may be related to the reason why your father summoned you back from England.
This I have to hear. Please, Soseki-san, tell me at once.
I will! I will! I will! I will! As you know, my time in England was curse! I have no doubt!
Honestly, cursed.
Such awful things I was embroiled in. Thank goodness Lockdown student Naruhodo-san Esquire stepped in. After he secured my freedom, I couldn't wait to get on a ship back here to my homeland. Having arrived in Japan, I submitted a report about my experiences to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It was so many pages about Windows.
I'm
The next thing I
glad
knew-
thereof.
Yes, and the taxes. I had a visitor. It was your father, Professor Mikatoba. He wanted to ask me all sorts of things about my report.
My father?
He seemed to be especially taken with a particular part of the report. Anyway, he left eventually, having thoroughly quizzed me. But it was the very next day that he was sent the telegram to you, asking you to return to Japan.
What was it then? The particular part that my father was interested in.
I don't really know exactly.
No, come on.
Hopefully you could ask him when you get a chance. But do you remember them? Those two terrible cases I was caught up in.
What are you talking about?
Two?
There was only one.
We only remember one.
What?
Of course, I could never forget.
Your father seemed to concern himself with the second case.
What is the second case? The second one, you mean?
Stop this right now.
The one
Oh.
Mr. Sholmes forbade any of us to talk about in public?
What are you talking
Stop.
about?
Did we miss something?
No, this is. They're building up the
Is it
next
gonna
case.
flashback to
They're
it?
building up the
Yeah.
next case as a flashback.
Ow.
Oh, fuck.
It would have happened between like the last case of the previous trial and the first trial of him.
What would be even more amazing if this was the only thing we ever heard about the second case? It's like, the one Mr. Sholmes forbade any of us from talking about, and that we'll never mention again. for the
Never
rest of the
comes up
series.
again.
You bring that back here.
Which
No,
is
just-
why the only case involving you that any member of the public is aware of is the first.
Including us, apparently.
Including the players.
We are the public.
Well, I don't care. I don't have to listen to what that dastardly detective says. Anyway, the point is, it seems that Casey somehow holds the key to all those curious unanswered questions. So many horrific, hideous questions and cases. The case of the haunted lodgings.
Oh, they're getting back to the curse. I thought it was weird that they just kind of dropped
Oh.
that.
Huh. That case somehow caused my father to summon me urgently back to Japan. I thought that whole business was over, but it seems I was wrong. Perhaps that was only the start. Perhaps the story is not yet told.
To be continued.
No. Cutscene?
Technically,
Cutscene?
but
Oh.
Cutscene?
cutscene.
Cutscene.
Cosmo-sama.
Cutscene.
So, the mystery of that English woman's death is solved, thank goodness. And having stood in the Supreme Court now, I think I can comprehend a little better. How you must be feeling as you fight for people's freedom in a foreign land, Naruhodo-san. But actually, I'm writing to you today because of another matter. I met Soseki-san and we talked about that second case he was involved in. Father has said nothing to me, but I feel certain of it. That case holds the key to some great unsolved mystery. My notes on the case should still be in the office, tucked away at the back of the shelves on the left. Perhaps you might like to look over them again. Today, for the first time this year, it feels as though summer has arrived. The sky is a brilliant blue. It makes me long to see you again. Yours, Susato.
Oh, that's nice.
It's a shorto.
She has a beautiful voice.
I've been trying to place her accent. So I don't know.
And... Yeah.
Susato success.
Yay!
Good job. Yes, of course I'll save my progress.
Good
Of
God.
course. So if we're gonna get back to those lodgings, is that gonna bring back the Gyarados? I wonder. The memories.
Oh, maybe.
Possibly?
The memoirs of the clouded Kokoro wasn't another chapter called something like that?
Yeah,
the Cloud
something
of
similar.
Hearts?
Huh.
It had Kokoro.
Wait, what? If you go back to the, or could you like scroll back? No, you can't.
I'm nervous to move anywhere besides these two panels. You understand, right?
Understandable.
Okay. I'm just gonna get us right into it. Let's go. Let's get in there.
Let's go.
I think you're acting as a Japanese, but learn English from Brits.
Which makes sense.
Ah, spill tea.
It was a ghastly
Oh.
tale of a
You're
winter's
back.
night. One of an
Oh.
invisible killer and a crime perpetrated on the pavement along Briar Road. As the victim lay at death's door, the mystery of just who had stabbed the young lady from behind had been resolved.
That was it, yeah.
But no sooner had my friend saved that Eastern Exchange student from his harrowing plight, than in the dim, flickering shadows of gaslight did a second bizarre crime rend the stillness of that very night.
Oh.
I dare say most can still recall the sensational headlines of the day. Haunted apartment of death, the condemned criminal's curse, the dread demon of coal gas. Yet, though the great detective had at once discerned the truth upon his arrival at the scene, it only proved to be the overture that announced the rising of the curtain on a most tragic play.
I recognize you.
Do we?
Now,
I do.
remember how...
Yeah.
Yeah, Saps, go on.
Yes. Remember how Seki's case was the only one that really has been without a murder victim?
Well, yes.
Not anymore!
Oh no!
Wow.
My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a fledgling lawyer just starting out on my journey. 6 months ago, I arrived as a visiting student of law, having made the long voyage across the sea from the Empire of Japan to here, London, England. And on the way, in quite extraordinary circumstances, I made the acquaintance of a world-famous detective. Currently, I reside in the attic of the Detective Zone lodgings, from where I run my legal consultancy of sorts. I've successfully defended a number of clients in Britain's highest court, the Old Bailey. But since a particularly grueling and unforgettable legal battle 4 months ago now, I haven't returned to the courtroom. In truth, I lost my right to return. But that epic trial was just one small part of an epic tale, a tale which was now about to awaken from slumber. Thanks to a letter that arrived this morning from my homeland.
Kitty!
Nope. What a delicious smell wafting up the stairs. It must be nearly time for breakfast. I better go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite and say good morning to the great detective and his flatmate. Okay, let's go. I miss them.
And they were flatmates.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, they were flatmates.
Still August! August
Hey!
2!
Ah, Bruno, good!
It is no longer my birthday.
I was just about to call up to you. The bacon's ready.
Yes! Good morning, Iris. It smells delicious as usual. Before we eat, though, I have some news. I had a surprise this morning. Ah!
Discombobulate.
Shh! Not all the words, Naruhodo. This could be the you and your big things, or my pre-breakfast stagnation repelling mental stimulation, my dear fellow.
Morning to you,
What?
Morning to you too, Mr. Sholmes.
How good.
Yes.
So that's it.
Step away, sir.
You are a little close.
The truth is all clear to me as day. My faculties of observation have revealed it again.
What are you talking about?
You, Mr. Naruhodo, you have this very morning met with a surprise. Well, is that not the case?
Shut up, Sholmes.
Really, my dear fellow, it barely warrants explanation. Firstly, your hair is particularly unkempt, somewhat reminiscent of a bird's nest. Secondly, you have neglected to fasten the third button of your jacket. Clearly, when considered together, these two facts point you to having been flustered this morning.
Can I talk now?
But of course! Though I don't look for admiration, you understand.
No, of course, you would never.
No.
My hair always looks like this. It's been this way since I first met you.
Oh, it has.
And the button was ripped off last night, if you remember, by you.
Apparently pulled your
my.
button off. I don't feel like I should hear this.
Oh my.
Ah, yes, I recall the incident now. It was after supper, was it not? As the evening advanced, I picked up my violin and began to play the wailing notes of a haunted tune. But then, to my dismay, the string snapped. Why would that have happened? Why? Little wonder then that in my vexation, I grabbed the first button I saw and ripped it from its proper place.
Well, I'd like it back now, please. It's troubling me that I can't fasten my jacket.
And it's troubling me that you expect me to know where it is. Somewhere there, not on the floor, one presumes.
Helpful.
What matters at the present time, my dear fellow, is simply whether or not my deduction was unerring.
Airing?
But Hurley, Runo said that when he came in, didn't he? I had surprise this morning.
Well, that really is a surprise.
Yes, this man is the pride of the British Empire, the famous consulting detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. There can't be a single person in the world who doesn't know his name, except me. I didn't know that. That was... I had to have that explained to me.
Alright then, enough of this silly conversation. Come and eat this bacon before it gets cold.
Just...
And I have new herbal tea for you to try too. My latest special blend.
And here we have Iris Wilson, Mr. Sholmes' lodger and companion. A truly exceptional young girl who's the author of a highly successful serialization here in London. Yes, The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, as published in Ranced magazine.
So, Miss Naruhodo, won't you put us out of our misery? What surprised you this fine morning?
You're the one... Oh, it's fine. Well, I received a letter from Japan.
Oh, from Susie, you mean? Was it? Really?
That's right. And she had some rather startling news, in fact.
Intriguing indeed. You must tell us about it all over breakfast.
Oh yes, what fun!
Okay, let's talk... Yeah, great. Here.
Breakfast time.
This is the letter that arrived from Japan this morning, by International Post.
Oh, how lovely! Look at Susie's beautiful writing. I wish I could read it.
And how is your judicial assistant faring, may I ask?
I'm gonna have to take a step back, actually. So you know Japanese Morse code, but not Japanese.
Yes. Are you able to read Japanese?
Okay. She's very well, thank you. In fact, according to what she's written, she actually
Maybe
appeared...
she knows how. Sorry. Maybe she knows how to read Japanese Romaji, but not the actual characters itself.
That could be it.
Maybe, yeah.
She actually appeared as a lawyer in the Japanese Supreme Court and won a case.
Really? Oh, isn't she wonderful?
I would also say it would be really hard to get used to someone's handwriting of a language after having just learned it.
It could look nice.
Look at your
Yeah.
shorthand.
Does Japanese have cursive?
Oh god, no.
Not precisely.
Hiragana.
Not
I guess
really.
calligraphy.
Yeah, calligraphy
Sure.
is probably, but that's more to look fancy or look
Right.
perfect.
That's
You know.
cursive!
Well, cursive is...
If you think about it, cursive is just a different font, which
Everyone-
is kind
Yes.
of what calligraphy would also be.
Everyone here has
It's a way to write.
approximate knowledge of many things.
Yeah.
That's why we're 5, to make up one brain.
Nope. Did you say this?
No, I was just thinking about cursive. A cut above your good self, my dear fellow.
I've won cases too, you know.
Russian
I mean, maybe I
cursive.
hate it
Ugh.
because I have 32 characters in my name and to sign the entire thing in cursive, you have to remember so many letters. You have to remember so many cursive letters.
Just learn the whole alphabet!
You have to remember. I write in nothing but cursive. I have a hard time writing non-cursive.
That's weird.
Jay's
Alright.
legal.
Person!
Jay's full legal Christian name is the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog.
Apparently,
Well be.
Mr. Natsume appeared in the trial as a witness.
Natsume. Not just to recalling the name.
No. Of course you do. We helped the man twice. You know, in those 2 cases that took place on Briar Road 6 months ago?
Was there only one of them? I only remember one of them.
Oh, they're building up to it.
Ah, the mustache twitchy man with the somewhat feline eyes and the mustache.
Okay.
He didn't have 2 mustaches, Hurley.
Yes, who could forget the 2 cases, 2 of them? He made a very deep impression.
Alright, you
I
3.
remember the 2
Three is like,
cases.
wow.
The
You-
2 cases on Briar Road that we clearly
Whoever's
went through.
Playing this game is such an idiot for not remembering the second case. Like,
You-
what's wrong with you?
Honestly.
These three characters can shut up and just let us get to the recap. Just do it. Come on.
I remember it as if it were yesterday.
Ugh.
Although I must confess, the details are a little hazy.
Well, let me recap
Uh-huh.
for you. A very deep impression they made on you, clearly. Oh no. Fine.
So, what was this startling news penned by Miss Susato?
Do you remember the case of the haunted lodgings, Mr. Sholmes?
No. Yes! It was very interesting, you know. I don't feel entirely uncertain that a case of that nature did not occur.
He's totally forgotten that. Anyway, in her letter, Miss Susato asked that we read over her case notes again and investigate further.
Though it took place half a year ago, for what purpose?
Because of something that Mr. Natsume said to her, apparently. He suggested that the real reason why she was called back to Japan so suddenly might have something to do with the case of the haunted lodgings.
Oh?
On Mr. Natsume's return to Japan, Miss Susato's father questioned him about the case, she says. And something Mr. Natsume said appeared to trouble Professor Mikitoba, prompting him to send that telegram.
Oh, that case! Yes!
You forgot to?
Yeah.
It was very strange, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, pull out the music. Just ham it up. Come on, keep it on. Yeah, wasn't it weird? It was a weird one, wasn't it?
And I had to compile the whole story into a nice, neat manuscript ready for publication, too. Are they back?
They?
I hear the sirens.
I didn't hear them.
Oh,
Oh,
no, yes, there they are.
Dang it.
But then Hurley here was all funny about it, remember? He was very
It's the
mean.
Bobbies.
the Bobbies.
The Bob. They got them for us too, Reno. That story must not be published, you said. Very mysteriously as well.
Really? I said that? Are you sure?
Sounds like permission to me. Put it in the magazines. Go. Do you perhaps know something about it as well, Mr. Sholmes? About why Miss Susato was suddenly told 4 months ago that she had to return to Japan? Well, let's talk about that.
It's been 4 months now since we waved Susie off at the Dover. It was such a shock, wasn't it? The way she just suddenly announced that she had to go back to Japan.
Indeed it was. Due to a telegram she received from her homeland, I believe.
That's right. Telling her to return urgently.
Yes, because her father had passed away.
No. It just said that he was
He
suffering
is dead now.
from a high fever, the cause of which was unknown. He is not dead. He's not dead. He's not dead. Not dead, Jump.
Obituaries.
Not dead, but according to this letter, that news about her father's fever was just a ruse.
A ruse? So Susie's daddy lied to her so that she'd make the voyage back home. Why would he do that?
I have to admit, I have absolutely no idea. But she believes it's almost certainly related to the case of the haunted lodgings. Summoning her back to Japan so suddenly like that, I wonder what Miss Susato's father is hiding.
Hurley, do you know what it's all about?
Oh, dressed.
Well, who can say?
What? But you said...
Please, I have engagements, my dear fellow. My calendar is quite surprisingly full today. And a stringent analysis of the matter would be most excessive, I feel. Even if I were quite at leisure. So, man the fort in my absence, won't you, Iris?
I will, Hurley, don't worry. See you later.
Alright, bye.
Ciao, ciao.
He scuttled off rather quickly there. I think perhaps Professor Mikotoba isn't the only person hiding something here. Soseki-san was involved in 2 cases, but only one of them was forbidden from being published. By, of all people, Mr. Sholmes.
Aha! I found them at last!
Iris, are they?
The notes about the case? That's right. Susie and I compiled them together.
Mm-hmm.
The case with the haunted lodgings. Do you want to read them, Runo?
Absolutely. Thank you, Iris. I have no idea what secrets could be hiding in the shadows of this case, but perhaps if I read over the notes again, something might come to light.
That's the spirit.
Here we go.
Oh, it's flashback time.
And so, Iris and I decided to read over the case notes again together. Everything from what happened to our investigation and that fierce battle in court that followed. Reliving every detail. I just need to find a clue. And I have all the time in the world. Because, of course, I'm no longer allowed to practice law in the courts of Great Britain. Oh, wow, that stuck.
Oh?
That just stuck. Well, you remember the events of the last trial,
what?
right?
Yeah.
Of course, we all remember this perfectly.
Yeah.
I need
You're right.
no reminder.
Yeah.
Here, okay, so,
Yeah.
Lunar's character with the blonde hair, I'm forgetting her name. Gina.
Gina Lestrade.
Smoke gun girl.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Gina lied in court, and we went with her
Oh, that's
testimony.
right.
We used
Yeah,
it
okay,
as
I remember now.
evidence. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Just to finish,
confused.
just to finish that thought. So, we used her false testimony, and that makes us liable as well in the eyes of the court. So, according to the courts of Great Britain, we are no longer fit for service. We cannot be lawyers in this country anymore.
Gotcha.
It was 6
Okay.
months ago, a mysterious incident that unfolded on the wintry streets of London. A young woman was found lying on the snowy pavement of Briar Road with a knife in her back. This is the one that we do remember. Fortunately, her life was spared, but she was unconscious for several days following the incident. The fog was thick and nobody saw her attacker, but by a cruel twist of fate, a visiting Japanese student was walking behind her at the time and was duly arrested. That man was Soseki-san, and the man who effected his arrest was Mr. Sholmes. Believing in our compatriot's innocence, Susanoo-san and I decided to represent Soseki-san in court. And after a grueling trial of many twists and turns, we finally managed to prove his innocence.
Joyous! Joyful joyous! Jubilant jubilation!
Jubilant jubilation was the man's reaction after the trial, but his jubilant jubilation was short-lived.
Yes!
We received a telegram from Mr. Sholmes the following morning. The victim of the Briar Road stabbing has regained consciousness. Hurry to Bart's at once.
That was the lady who looked like an olive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She was on the ground, just laying there.
So Susanoo-san and I summoned a handsome? What? And headed immediately to the hospital. I need help. What's that? Somebody tell me.
Hands.
Okay.
Like they're
A
handsome.
cab. A
It's a cab.
two-wheeled horse-drawn carriage accommodating 2 inside with the driver seated behind.
We already had rickshaw. Why do we need another word?
Well, because those are different.
Okay. It
Rickshaw
is,
is like
Just say a
caravan.
carriage or something.
it is currently February.
Oh, hey, onion
February.
boy.
There you are at last!
Good morning, Mr.
rat?
Sholmes. Rat.
Rat friend.
Rat.
Right.
Does he
think
make all
not.
the rules?
Soto!
Susanoo.
You're late! What on earth took you so long?
Your telegram only arrived at 5 o'clock, Mr. Sholmes, and it's a 20-minute ride to the hospital.
That's right, and it's 5:30 now. I think we made very good time.
The time is utterly irrelevant. The fact is, I have been waiting for what felt like an eternity. In point of fact, I myself was awoken at 4 this morning by a telegram boy. And feeling it was somewhat unjust that I alone have been round such an hour, I sent one to you.
Well, thanks for that.
Amazing. We love the pettiness.
Anyway, you're here now, so the victim is over there. She has only just regained consciousness.
Hello.
Oh,
There she is.
do you have a voice?
Yeah.
Yep.
You should introduce yourselves, and I shall observe from over here with Onion Bro.
What? Oh, the thing in the back.
Huh?
Oh.
The statue in the
gold?
back.
Yep, the
Onion
statue in the back. It's a Dark
Bro.
Souls joke.
Yeah.
So
Onion
that's
Knight?
Yep.
Onion boy.
yeah. So that's the lady who was found in the snow-covered pavement with the knife in her back.
Her name is. Yes, here we are. Miss Green.
Easy to remember. Isn't it olive green? Let's leave.
Yeah.
Let's leave. All right. See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Good bit.
Bye.
First of all,
Onion
what is Onion Bro doing here? This rounded wooden figure isn't the most charming, is it?
I don't think that's a decoration, Mr. Naruhodo. It's an artist mannequin, I believe. Used when practicing sketching the human form in different poses.
Really? It's not exactly what you'd call a typical figure for that purpose, though, is it?
No, I suppose not. I confess I've never seen one quite so full-figured before.
Well, if you want to draw a full-figured person, it's the right tool for the job. Okay. Missed.
No! No!
There we go. Look, there's a photograph of his friend here.
Look at this
Mhm.
photograph.
Who is you?
Oh!
Right.
Oliver. The name is
Yeah,
Oliver.
could be.
Swear to God.
Oh, yes, it's a picture of a young gentleman.
He looks to be about the same age as Miss Green, I would say. Perhaps the young woman's special someone, do you think?
Oh.
My, Mr. Naruhodo. I didn't know you had a sense for matters of the heart.
Well, not in
I
the
don't.
least. I sincerely said the first thing I thought of. Okay. How about, this easel? No, nothing here. Rat!
Right.
And
Rat.
the rat makes all the rules.
A mouse, Mr. Naruhodo! An enormous mouse!
Vermin in a hospital. That doesn't seem the best.
Welcome to London.
But it looks like a very healthy specimen, doesn't it? It's very plump.
I'm not sure we can say that that's down to the excellence of this facility, if that's what you were thinking. Okay, anything else I can look? Oh, yep, bag.
Bag.
That must be the bag of Miss Green's personal belongings.
She would have been brought directly here after she was found stabbed on the pavement, though.
I suspect a friend or family member probably brought some things for her.
Alright then, let's see what's inside. A change of clothes,
Blech.
no doubt, and...
No, Mr. Naruhodo, you must never scrutinize a young maiden's personal belongings.
But the young maiden might have chocolates, or biscuits, or caramel. I'm hungry.
I didn't get to eat because of the
I got taken away from my breakfast by a flashback, Susanoo, please.
Help me.
This looks like the patient's treatment notes. Let's see. Do not feed. What is this place, a zoo?
You know, I seem to remember seeing an almost identical sign in our local park.
For the pigeons, yes. This is a person. Poor woman. I hope she hasn't read this. Well, I mean, maybe there's an actual medical reason she can't be fed.
Yeah.
There are lots of bottles in that cabinet, aren't there? Do you think it's safe to keep them like that?
If you were a patient here, I feel sure you'd take some medicine by mistake when you were half asleep.
That is a worry, but at least the cabinet has a lock, even if it's only a flimsy-looking one.
Oh, I've no doubt you managed to unlock that somehow while you were asleep as well.
There are limits even to what I can do when I'm half asleep, you know, Mrs. Sato. Nah, we can do any. Oh wait, there's another side to the room. Aha. Things. Ah, this looks like the treatment notes for whoever's occupying this bed. Let's see. Do not permit to run around the hospital.
They're not here.
Patient doesn't seem to be here at the moment, so...
He or she is probably running around the hospital then.
Oh dear. How worrying.
What's worrying is why they haven't discharged the patient yet. Well, okay. Things up here? There are all sorts of medicines in this cabinet, look. I'm not sure if it's safe leaving them in reach of everyone like this.
Yes, you're right. I can imagine if you were peckish, you might try a whole bottle or two.
Well, at least there seems to be a little lock to secure the cabinet doors.
I don't imagine that would stop you if you were hungry. I worry you'd break the lock.
Hunger doesn't turn me into a criminal, you know, Mrs. Otto.
But it could.
As
Alright.
me.
Alright, it's time. Hello. Good morning. Hello?
Hello?
Mm-mm.
Oh, sorry.
I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan.
Oh no! Was it your knife that... Are you the man who...
Whoa, no, I'm a lawyer.
And I'm Miss Susato Mikotoba. Pleased to meet you. Oh no! Was it your knife then? Are you the one? No, I assure you, I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. We had heard that you regained consciousness and wanted to come to give you our best wishes. Best wishes? For me? Thank you. I'm Olive. Olive Green. I'm an artist. Well, no, that's not right, is it? What I mean is I'm trying to be an artist.
I mean, you're still an artist then, I would say that.
Well, what I really mean is I desperately want to be an artist.
And these are my friends, cadmium yellow and titanium white.
Huh?
But the truth is, I don't have any talent. I know I don't. It's no wonder I was stabbed in the back.
I don't think that's related, actually.
Gosh, this young woman seems to bend over backwards to put herself down.
Seeing as we're here, we should ask her about what happened from her perspective, I suppose. Well, how you doing? To suddenly be struck in the back by a blade as you were walking there along the pavement. What a terrible experience you had, Miss Green.
It was so cold that day, and the fog was so thick I couldn't see a thing. That was 4 days ago now, I think. Is that right? Yes, that's right. I'm afraid you've been comatose all that time. But the case has been solved, hasn't it? Well, I've been here in the hospital, I mean.
Oh,
Indeed it has, my dear madam. Spectacularly by none other than I, Herlock Sholmes.
Mr. Sholmes, as you well know, it was Mr. Naruhodo's hard work in court that solved the case.
oh. I don't think she's ever jumped down his throat like that before. Are you yet to hear what happened, Miss Green?
Yes, I'm afraid so. A gentleman from the police force is supposed to be coming in to fill me in shortly. Oh, I see. Me coming around seems to have made everyone frantically busy. I'm so sorry. I never should have regained consciousness. It was selfish of me.
Oh.
Oh, no. Oh, we're all so relieved that you're on the mend, Miss Green. Really, we are.
With that kind of attitude, maybe her surname should be Blue, not Green. Got it. Wow, me slapper.
Indigo blue.
So, you're an artist, are you, Miss Green?
Oh, no, I couldn't possibly claim that. I'm a fledgling artist at best.
Have you ever painted something? You're an artist.
I mean, I'm a student of art, really. At the Thorndike Academy of Fine Arts.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Oh my, an Academy of Fine Arts! Great Britain is such a wonderful country.
We're gonna meet the instructor and they're gonna be such a bitch. I don't know why.
No.
I just know this.
Tell me, Miss Green, where do you live hereabouts?
Oh no, actually. I don't deserve it, but I have a little flat on Brixton Road.
I see. How very interesting.
Oh no! Is it?
Brixton is some 10 steps away on the underground from here. And Thorndyke Academy is a mere 3-minute walk from Brixton Town Center.
Does that matter, Mr. Sholmes?
Perhaps not. But Briar Road is a far less salubrious part of town by comparison.
Salubrious.
Dwelt by those in
Salubrious?
I don't know anymore. Dwelt in by those with inferior means, including the maleficent Mr. Mustache.
Inferior means. I suppose Soseki-san does fit the bill. Tap, tap.
Ah, sorry.
It struck me as somewhat out of the ordinary for a young fine art student to be walking around in such a district. That's all.
What's this? She suddenly clammed up.
Mr. Sholmes, you should be ashamed of yourself prying into a young maiden's private affairs.
Dear me, do forgive me.
If you don't mind. I'm being discharged shortly, so I need to pack up my things.
Oh, yes, of course. We won't keep you. Thank you so much, Miss Green. Alright. Oh. Saps, you don't have a character yet.
Is there a Mr. Nerve Father here? A Mr. Nerve Father?
Narrow fodder now. Well, if you're looking for Naruhodo, the lawyer, that's me, but...
Ah, Mr. Nerve Father, good. This is for you. It's a message from Mrs. Saucy Nutmeg.
What?
Mr. Natsume sent a message to me?
Saucy
good.
nutmeg.
Mm. Saucy little nutmeg, you.
But why would a policeman be delivering a message from Mr. Natsume?
Exactly. What's going on? What's a Scotland Yard constable doing playing delivery boy at this time in the morning? Still laughing.
It's funny.
Hello, Optical.
Hey.
Whew. What are you waiting for? Let me see that.
Saucy.
Nutmeg.
Well, this is more saucy.
This is most saucy.
Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes? You okay? Hey, buddy, what's up? Hey, you alright?
Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes? He says. Have you not seen this note?
No, how could I have?
Elf. It would seem that London's criminals have no intention of letting the great detective rest.
Mr. London. Is that my character talking?
I have so many surnames. A new case calls. A case of murder, no less. We must depart at once.
Murder?
Murder?
Meow.
Call a cab. Time is of the essence.
But the trouble is, we've yet to read Mr. Natsume's note. I was thinking we ought to pay him a visit at his lodgings once we did.
That will be entirely convenient.
Convenient? What do you mean?
Because that's where the murder is.
Oh no. It's all here in the notes, my dear fellows. The murder we must investigate took place at Mr. Mustache's lodgings.
Wait, what?
Quite saucy, isn't it?
I'll hail a fiacre at once.
Yeah, just throwing fake words at me now. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I won't look that one up. Don't need it.
Wouldn't it be
Okay.
fucked if you ended the stream right before we get to see the scene of crime? What a dick move that would be.
Yeah, that would be a dick move unless I.
Anyways, we'll see you guys tomorrow for Kirby.
Shut up. It was only yesterday that Soseki-san was in court and we were dispelling doubts about his innocence. And now, the very next day, there's a murder at the man's own address. He may very well be the unluckiest man alive. Or so it seemed to us at the time, but we were soon to discover it was worse than we thought. God. It is. It's February. Don't worry about it. Oh, whoa.
Oh, this guy.
Oh,
Is he acting?
Wonder does not. Oh, maybe actually. What on earth?
Oh my!
oh
The
great.
gentleman is deceased without question. He's dead.
Look, them shoot Mr. Naruto, Esquire!
Mr. Natsume.
Why is this happening? Why to me?
Oh my god, this guy mentioned that he lived here. I forgot
He
that.
did.
That's
Yeah.
that's like the only
Oh,
thing
yeah.
we knew about that character.
Yeah.
I only just got out of court yesterday! I was finally home after 2 days of misery! And then I wake up the next day to this! No early bird can catch a worm like this!
Oof.
Wonderful worm! Whoa, wiggle!
You missed some letters.
Without wiggle.
Whoa! I see you're in high spirits again this morning, Mr. Mustache!
Wow.
Not the horrible Sherlock Holmes! Show off! Show yourself the door! I never invited you!
I thought you two made up. What happened?
Mr. Sholmes came here with us. I'm quite sure he'll be able to help you, Mr. Natsume.
I am entirely at your disposal, Mr. Mustache. What can I do for you? Leave!
Oh, you.
Oh,
We don't know.
Here
what
we
you-
are.
We don't know what you do in the future yet. We don't know.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Already. The busybodies. Also clueless. Macbeth would totally kick Hamlet's ass. Hamlet took like 3 hours to kill one person.
That's true.
Inspector Gregston, what a pleasant surprise.
Pleasure, is it? Gives me heartburn every time I see your face at a crime scene, Sholmes.
I deduce, Inspector, that your heartburn is a result of your excessive consumption of fried food.
Eh.
Good morning, Inspector.
This is a crime scene. Don't you go touching anything.
I'll go tell
Oh, he
Iris.
actually is
I'll
dead.
go, I'll go ask Iris if it's okay. Or good morning to you too, Sunshine. Oh, okay. Well, okay. It starts. Okay, are you really dead? If you're not really dead, then just tell me.
Oi! I said hands off. I'm gonna mess up my crime scene.
Oh, no, I just wanted to look, that's all.
No chance I know you're kind. Yeah, I'll mess it up just by looking at it.
Someone's in a bad mood.
There's certainly some bad air in here, isn't there?
Alright, it sounds like I better talk to the inspector first and try to curry some favor. Soseki Natsume, since the day I first met you, have you been wearing clogs? Is this the case?
Yeah,
In England?
we have never seen his shoes before.
Yeah.
This is February, England! You're not even wearing socks!
He's
hates
fine.
shoes.
So what you're telling me, Saps, is that he should wear socks and sandals.
It's
Hmm,
February, that's allowed.
that's suspicious. Okay.
Well,
that's
first of all, they're gaiter, if you must say.
So,
What are those?
so, Inspector, what was the victim's name? Who was he? What are you talking about? Don't lie to me.
He's serious right now.
You can't be fucking serious.
Oh my god!
Really good. Love it.
No notes. Continue.
I
Saucy.
fell out of my chair.
William's jams.
Oh, I didn't even notice the pun. I just thought it said Shakespeare. Oh my god. Oh.
Mr. William Shakespeare. He was a lodger. As you can probably tell, he was an actor. Bit of a dead loss has happened. Just dead.
Mr. Shamsphere.
Bill shit Arthur Shamsky. It was the landlord, old Mr. Garadeb, and the other lodger, Mr. Natson May, who found him. Yeah, he's been dead for 3 centuries now. The fella didn't rise at his usual hour, so Garadeb got word and kicked the door down.
But
Better.
doesn't Mr. Garadeb have a bad leg?
Yeah, you're right there. It was that jittery Japanese hunchback over there actually did the kicking.
Really? Soseki-san?
The victim was pretty odd up, it seems. Even done some time inside for petty crimes. He had no money, no place to go, no friends. His only acquaintances were the people in his house. Miserable life and a miserable end to it.
So, what exactly is Mr. Natsume still doing here? He's not involved in the investigation, so shouldn't you have sent him away from the crime scene?
Well, I'm not saying it's because the fella looks odd or anything, or that he acts suspicious. But I thought it would be prudent to take a statement from the cohabiter.
This is not fair. You nearly said culprit there, didn't you?
Oh, for Abbott.
Oh dear. Mr. Natsume appears to be under suspicion again.
It certainly seems that way. He does just come across as such an odd fellow, doesn't he?
Poor man. How unfortunate.
Anyway, can't say much until the coroner gets here. But I don't think the fella's been a goner that long. The body's still warm.
Even if the inspector would allow it, I don't think I could bring myself to touch a dead body. Okay. But should you try? Nah, just talk to him. What a terrible thing to have happened.
It's only been 3 days since I was arrested for the incident on the pavement outside. And then, having finally regained my freedom, it starts happening all over again. Endless existence of extraordinary experiences.
So, the victim lives here on the ground floor, and your room is just one story up, isn't a story? Oh, wow.
Weird.
You don't say that?
Is that a typo or is it just British?
It's definitely English. It's gotta be
We
English.
say story, but we don't spell it like that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. In a way, we were neighbors, I suppose.
So, did you know the victim? Were you friends?
No.
No.
What's the matter with Soseki-san now? What's wrong? It was an innocent enough question, wasn't it? Why does he seem so shaken by it?
Well, I suppose we did. We had a couple. Just to try to.
Let me just answer the goddamn question.
Did we ever invite me to his? On my honor, I swear it.
Do you ever get lightheaded doing that?
Are you okay?
Not really.
Oh, well. Wait,
Wait,
now, was
what-
that not really to which question?
Yeah, what
It matters.
are you answering there?
Yes.
Wait. Well, what's the second question?
Are you okay?
Do you ever get
Do you
lightheaded?
get lightheaded
Are you
was the
okay?
first question.
That's so good.
Okay, cool.
So you are okay and you don't get lightheaded. Got
Correct.
it.
Great.
I am totally
Okay.
fine. Any oxygen. Big lungs.
You're lightheaded and you're not okay. Got it.
What an extreme reaction. You're probably wishing you'd never asked now, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo?
When we found him here, I felt wretched, which is why I sent word asking you to come. Through that inspector over there!
Yeah.
Hi, hello, I'm over here now.
What are you doing?
Wait, while you're there, what?
Yeah.
He's behind me, isn't he?
He
you
likes
know what?
to be tall.
I don't know if we have time for a full conversation, so give me a little time. Hang on. Let me see if I. Well, there's nothing to
We're
look.
not ready
wait,
for
wait.
Sholmes.
What do you mean I can't look at any of this stuff?
Oh, is he gonna be like, oh, don't touch anything?
Oh yeah, I guess that's probably the.
Yeah, probably.
Do I stop here? Or do I
Can we
start?
look at the profiles?
Look at the profiles? Sure, we can look at the profile. Wait, what's this? Hang on. Okay. Yep, the armbands. So, oh, I wonder if I have something new to say about this. Its very fine embroidery here shows the name of the armband's owner. In this case, Kazuma Asogi. So I'm always carrying my best friend's hopes and dreams with me on my right arm just here, at all times. To be honest, it's something that weighs very heavily on me.
Oh, I didn't realize it was such a burden, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, I think it's why my right shoulder aches so much.
Are you sure that's not to do with your reading in bed or something?
No,
Or the
no,
like?
no, probably not. No. What about the front?
No.
I'm right in thinking that these scales are a symbol of the defense in law, aren't they?
They're supposed to symbolize treating everything equally and fairly. That's why they're always in the middle, balanced. Equal measures on both sides.
As all things should.
Yeah. Recently, though, whenever I see a set of scales, I can only think of the enormous scales of justice.
That's entirely understandable. They are such a powerful symbol in the courtroom, aren't they?
And the thing about the scales of justice is, they're always leaning one way or the other. They're only ever in balance right at the start.
It must be something peculiar to the British. I'm afraid I can't shed any light on it, Mr. Naruhodo.
That's it for that. Secondhand book receipt. A receipt for some books that Mr. Natsume purchased at a secondhand bookshop. It was submitted as evidence in the trial the other day. Why do I have this?
Yeah, why do we have this still?
Why do I have this?
Oh, how's it gonna be relevant?
And this? Why do
Where
I-
he was?
Yeah, this was
Yeah.
the map from that trial, too.
Both, yeah, I
Just to
remember.
remind you of what happened?
Well, it's probably gonna be relevant here too. And here's everybody. Wow, your name is so dumb. Oh my god.
William Shams.
William Shamspeare. Very good. Holy crap. Okay. I think that's a stream. That's a pretty good stopping point anyway.
Yeah.
Alright.
Right there.
Yeah.
That's good. That was a good stream. I enjoyed that. That last case was crazy cool. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gave Suzato-san a lot more characterization, and I really enjoyed playing Mini Memo, and this is looking like it's gonna be fun too. This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tomorrow we're doing Kirby. Is that right?
Yep.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yes.
Well, yeah, hopefully.
Well,
Probably.
And if that happens, we'll be wrapping up that game for sure.
Yeah.
Look forward to it, team. What kind of soup is this?
soup song.
Hamsphere soup.
No.
Soup Meg.
Saucy
Soup
Natsumeg soup.
Saucy Natsumeg!
All right. Thank you all very much for coming. Good night.
Bye bye.
Good night.